Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please give a warm welcome to the host of the Happy Hour, Chris Lane Sr.
Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's. Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Yes, we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Nobody's knowing all they can. Not everything will go to plan. You might be set up, or you might get fed up, or maybe just need a helping hand. Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Yes, we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. We all have doubts and things to know and learn about, that we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. When everything just feels so hard, you need to strive and you'll go far. It's hard to grow up, but if you show up, you shine and they'll see what you are. Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Yes, we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. With what we know, we all have time, a room to grow. Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. The shame and pain you feel inside, perfectionist, is why you hide. Trust in yourself and you will see you're not alone. Because we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Yes, we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. With what we know, we all have time and room to grow. Yes, we're all just a work in progress. Nobody's got it figured out. 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 Nobody's got it figured out.
Hey, welcome everybody. That was Pete Johns with We're All Just a Work in Progress. I love that song. And it's just fantastic. So, and our special guest tonight will be Pete Johns himself. And I usually say hi to everybody in the chat. You know what? What do we know about this show? My rules are there are no rules. So we're going to bring him right up. We're going to bring our guest up right now. Everybody say hi to Pete Johns.
Hey, it's Chris Lane Sr. How you doing, my friend? Hello,
I am
everybody.
well. How are you, Pete?
Really good. Chris informed me that we've never been on a stream together. I couldn't quite believe it because
Shocking,
I've
right?
known Chris for years and this community, and I've been on the Brady Bunch ones with the 9 squares, and I can't quite believe that we've never shared a screen before, but it's an absolute pleasure to be here and
But
chat to you
this
today,
is a
my friend.
first. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We have many things to talk about. I'll start off with, I love that song. And you know what I love about it most? You, sir, are a hookmeister. You've got great hooks. I love a good hook. That's the only reason anybody knows any of my songs is because I think there's a couple good hooks in there. You write great hooks. And if you're not singing that after hearing that song one time, I don't know what to tell you. It's really...
And yeah, look, that song started with the hook, and then the rest of it kind of just worked around it over time. So that was a song timber song, which I know you know about, and many folks know about, and have participated in. And
Yep.
yeah, I had that in my voice memos. I just sort of woke up one day and just went da da da. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like, oh, what words can that be? We're all just a work in progress. And yeah, and it was good because it was telling the messages that I was wanted to send, because a lot of people, I know we talk about all sorts of things, but a lot of people, when you start making music and you start sharing it, you have that imposter syndrome moment where you're like, maybe I'm not good enough, and maybe I'm not as good as these other people. And guess what? I say two things: everyone starts at zero, and we're all just a work in progress. Like you're not gonna get better unless you keep doing it. Practice makes progress. So yeah, I love the sentiment. And I love that song too because we involved the community. So we've got the work in progress choir. So a lot of people that were around the channel back in 22 when we did the song, I put it out there and asked them all to collaborate. So that final chorus, there's about 17 different voices in there, and they're people that I know and love from this community. So that makes it extra special for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, I couldn't agree more. If you do this, you do have imposter syndrome. There's no way around it. I think most of us have it. You're an ex-corporate guy. I actually did that for a period of time too. I had a suit and tie and everything, believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And even in that, I mean, those C-level guys, C-suite guys, they were fronting as well. We all have imposter syndrome.
Yeah, you either have imposter syndrome or you're a narcissist or a
you're a sociopath and there's something wrong with you. Very true.
So hopefully, if you have imposter syndrome, it's a good sign. It means you're a good human with empathy. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, indeed. So I wanted to kick it off with that one because I think it sets the table so well with a lot of things that we want to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
The song timbre, which I think is one of the single most important things in our community, because of the sentiment you just expressed, getting people involved. Like, take your best shot, just work on something.
Yeah, and that's been the key with Song Timber. Like, it started out with, I just wanted to do it because I wasn't making enough music. And I'm like, hey, if I do this song in a month challenge in every September, at least I'm getting a song out per year. That's a bare minimum. And then I realized that people were getting discouraged because they weren't finishing their song. And then I realized that, hey, if you do more than nothing, you're already ahead. If you participate at all, so we've had some people that have just written a demo, or just wrote a chorus or a hook, or started a song. Like anything that gets the creative juices flowing, I think is good. And yeah, and some people don't finish it in September; it's done in October or November, and that's cool too. Because again, you wouldn't have got anything done if you didn't start and didn't try. So yeah, it is. It's a real celebration of people and music. So people first. I've always said, people first and then music second. Music's important, but having cool people and surrounding yourself with the right people that are going to support and build you up rather than bring you down, that's the number one thing for me. And that's been my guiding light since I first started the channel. That's why I say create, record, release, and then repeat, create, record, release.
Yeah.
Because it's what it's all about. Get yourself out there and help others do it at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I literally have some of my best friends now in the world are people that I've met since the pandemic doing this YouTube and internet stuff.
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, that I thought, do I need to feel bad that the majority of the people that I spend the most time with are actually virtually, are online now? I'm like, is that a bad thing for me? Like, as a human, should I have more personal contact? But I realize that it just gives you the opportunity. There's a much larger pool. Like, there's maybe 2 or 3 people in my local area that I can go and hang out with and talk music and talk garage band and recording and jam with. And there's maybe 100, 200, 300 people online. They just happen to be physically located in different cities, countries, parts of the world. So yeah, I think, I mean, look, I have my family and I have my friends here as well. It's not that I'm a hermit and I just sit in my audio cave 24/7.
Right.
But still, like, as you know, I was running late today because I had to drop my daughter off at a choir gig, and I was hanging out with my wife and had some breakfast. And yeah, so yeah, but I think it's a good thing because I know the pandemic was terrible. Let's just put it out there. It was horrible. I know a lot of people struggled and suffered through it. But I think the best thing that we learned out of it is that we do not have to be constrained by physical boundaries and by the boundaries of country or what
Right.
you think or how you roll in other parts of your life. You can relate to other people through the things we love, and a lot of us happen to love music.
Well, exactly. And I'm a positive outlook kind of guy, even though,
Yeah.
some things don't go my way. But I choose continue to look at the pandemic as like, hey, it got me into making music in a totally different way. And I think many people know I played in church. That's what I did. I was a bass player, played every week. The pandemic forced in the U.S. anyway, forced us out of church. And then we kind of went back and did video church. And it was just, and it just moved me in a completely different direction, creating my own music, doing all these things. I wasn't doing that previously. I mean, I did 35 years ago or 40 years ago, but it just plugged me back into the music community in just such a positive way. So I took the positives out of it.
Yeah, and there were definitely a heap of positives out of it, and for a lot of us, it gave us a reset. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this full time. I mean, maybe I would by now, but it kind of gave me the push because, as you mentioned, I had a corporate job that I was planning on leaving, and convenience. You take the opportunities you get conveniently. During the pandemic, they had to lay some people off, and I put my hand up and said, "Yes, please, me, please," and that happened. So I was made redundant from my corporate gig, but it just meant that I could devote all my time to this, which is my absolute passion, which is helping people create and record and release music. So yeah, I take out of it what it was good. I mean, I know it was super tough, and for my kids that had to go through it and were schooling through it, and to my wife that was working in an office and Zoom meeting and all that sort of stuff, and not to mention, of course, all the physical impact of folks who are not around anymore and who are very sick now because of the things that happened. So I don't take any of it for granted or cast light on it by saying, hey, it was great. Wasn't it great that we all got to stay home and make music? I think we just made the best of what was a pretty horrible situation.
Yeah.
And just, you got to make lemonade out of lemon sometimes.
Well,
So,
exactly. It's, it wasn't for many of us. And, our freedoms were restricted here in America. Other places in the world, certainly Australia, even much more so. So what are you going to do? Now, here's the interesting thing for me. I've worked out of my house for, almost 30 years. So in some respects, the pandemic was a nothing burger for me. It changed nothing for me. Now, my son and my wife ended up working at home because they had office jobs and everything. So there was, three of us and three cats, and the cats would take turns on the Zoom meetings and everything. And that was interesting until they went back. But yeah, for me, it didn't change my life that much, other than everything around me totally changed. And, I had to learn that new reality.
Yeah, and again, it was tough, and I think hopefully we kept a lot of the things. I've got a song called New Day where I talk about this, where when we look back, we have rose-colored glasses on, and we think, things were better before, but really, hopefully, if we learn anything out of the changes that we went through, is that to be grateful, to have a lot more gratitude for the things we have, for the freedoms that we do have, the fact that you can just in your country and mine, you can walk outside and you got the freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's a pretty big thing, because that's not everyone in the world all the time. So
Nope.
yeah, I think it gave me a real sort of reset in terms of sense of gratitude for what the good things were, despite the fact the bad things. So I really just hope that we don't go back to taking for granted some of those wonderful opportunities that we have available to us. And we tweak things, we make things better by taking the good things that were around before, the lessons we learnt from the fact that we didn't have those things for a while, and we create what we have now. Yeah, these wonderful communities where we all share our music and hang out with cool people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to take a second. Let's say hi to some of the people in the chat. Let's say hi to Crimson. I'm going to go from the back to the front. So
Nice.
I varied it up every week. So there's our friend Nate, Crimson Crux. Good to see you. Gary Hubbs, the parking lot warrior. Hugh Caldwell. I'll go special call out to Hugh. Hugh sent me a track today. Well, you think Hugh Caldwell sent a track. But Hugh has not been able to play his guitar for months and months and months. Yeah. And he is on the comeback trail, boys and girls. He sent me a great, I was so happy with it. And he is getting better every day. So shout out to my buddy Hugh. It's so glad to see you playing again, bud. And there's a countryman of you, Camellia. How are you? World's greatest moderator. So appreciate you being here. And I did see, I'm scrolling up, there's James Myers. Jammin' James, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. And scrolling up, Dwight Bailey, the Hitman. Good to see you. There's Dwight right there. And I saw others there. Poison Whales has joined us. Good to see you. And this guy. Have you ever heard of this guy? The Dom Father?
There was a guy that looked just like that used to be on this show sometimes, but I don't know. It's been so long,
it's ringing a bell. I mean, it seems familiar to me. It's like I should know this guy, but maybe it'll come to me.
Embarrassing story. When you and Dom were on a show recently, and I was in the chat saying, "Oh yeah, I hadn't been on. I don't think me and Chris have been on a stream before." And then Dom says, "Oh yeah, when I was on Pete's show," and I'm like, "Oh yeah," I had completely forgotten that because at the time he called himself John Dominic, and I was so confused at the time because he said, "Oh, I want to come on your show and talk about choosing a name for you as a performer," and so I just had it in my head that I had this sort of John Dominic thing, and then like now that he's Dom, I was like, "Oh, that's a different thing," and then I went back and I'm like, "There it is, a stream with me talking to." I'm like, "Oh God, getting old, man."
Hey, it happens. Well, and I mean, he had a little personality. He didn't know who he was for a while, and it's come back to bite him because John Dominic gets him a copyright every time he plays his own songs. So that guy's a jerk.
I have the same problem. I got a song called Goats, and every time I play that, the fictional band that I released it using called Fear Cut gives me a copyright claim. I had to take them down. I had to issue a takedown notice to my own former made up band. So yeah, it's fun times.
Easy to do. Sometimes being not that thoughtful about what you do works out well. I mean, I had a stage name back in the day, and I was thinking about using it, and I just got lazy, and I'd had a YouTube channel for a long time that didn't really do anything with it. It was a Chris Lane Sr. So, and that's my real name and everything, so ta-da. Makes it easy.
Now you've just served up a lovely little lob there, Chris, and the people in the chat would not let me get away with it if I didn't say, what was that stage name? Have you revealed this before?
I don't think I have.
Ooh, do we get an exclusive?
Yes. Remember the old Rocky movie that had Mr. T in it?
Oh, yes, I do.
Clubber Lang?
Yeah.
Well, I used to do the Mr. T impersonation, Pity the Fool. And after a while, everybody just started calling me Clubber. So that was my stage name for years. Just Clubber.
There you go. Okay, for every time you come to a chat on Chris's channel from now on, you have to say, "Hey, Clubber," and then we'll all know that it was this episode of the Happy Hour that it was finally revealed.
Well, that's when I met my wife at the first time at the party. She sidled up to me and she looked me up and down and said, "I hear they call you Clubber." And it was love at first sight, boys and girls. 36 years later, here we are.
And you said, "I pity the fool that doesn't like Clubber."
Yeah. Yeah, you looking good in that mighty small bikini. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, we're going off on tangents. I love it. I love this show. I've been watching this show for a while. And
this
I love
show is
the
nothing
tangents.
but tangents. If we went on a straight line in this show, people go, "What? Are they okay? What happened here?" Oh my goodness. Now I do. Hey, speaking of other people in Australia, there's Costa, who probably knows exactly where you are right now. Because
he's a bit creepy like that. I'm in Adelaide, but so I'm thankful. I know that Costa's tracking all of the Melbourne YouTubers and their exact locations at all time. He's got GPS trackers on them all. But here in Adelaide, I'm a little removed, unless he's here.
There is a garage band guy in Adelaide, because I was communicating with him via the thing, and he just said Adelaide, and I said, "Oh, do you know Pete Johns?" Well, I never heard back from him, so I don't know if he knows you or not, and I can't tell you his name and I said, "I know it's a big city, so, it's not like, oh yeah, Pete Johns is down the street."
Well, I mean, I would hope that if he was into GarageBand, he might know me.
You would think, at least by your channel,
sure.
But...
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, come on now. Hey, PJ Kobe. Good to see you. Hey, well, speaking of which, why don't we pretend that nobody knows who the heck you are?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's shocker, right? Tell us just a little bit about your musical journey. How did you get started playing, and what did you play in bands, and your kind of life
Yeah.
story?
Yeah, I did. So I'll kind of go a little bit backwards. So where I am now is I was a 40-year-old, nearly 40-year-old, late 30s, and had life and children and jobs and corporate and mortgages and everything had gotten in the way of music. So I hadn't been playing or recording or doing anything with music for a good 20 years. So let's go back back in time to starting out.
Yep, the old cough button. Hate that.
I just, you know how you breathe and then you inhale instead of, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
That was a really great start. Here I am, like ready to tell my story, trying to do the effects and everything. So let's start that one again. So going back in time, as a kid, loved music, grew up in a music household. My parents were into the 60s and 70s stuff. So we're talking Beatles and Stones and ABBA, because they were huge in Australia. So I was into that's where the hooks came from, all those ABBA songs. So I listened to a whole heap of music, just lived and breathed and loved listening to music. Didn't play music that much though. Was forced to do piano lessons. Absolutely despised piano lessons because they were trying to teach me theory and teach me the structure, the Suzuki method. For anyone that's done that, wasn't my bag. Didn't love it, so gave up on that. Went to high school on like a partial music, not scholarship, but a specialist program. Learnt the clarinet. Was god awful at the clarinet. Just could not hold a tune. Never practiced. Hated the clarinet, so didn't do well with that. But I learned at that time that I was pretty good on a keyboard. So when I played the piano, if I played by ear and I just sort of rocked out on some chords and played some, Billy Joel, Elton John type stuff, that was really fun. When it wasn't structured, when music wasn't this rule-based structured thing, I actually really loved it. So I started doing more on the keyboard, and every time I'd go in, we'd do something called concert practice for those that have done music in school, where you'd have to play a song, and instead of playing like my clarinet, which I sucked at, I would just play the keyboard, and I'd play these songs that I'd composed at the time. The music teacher was like, Peter, maybe we'd like to hear something from a different composer next time. And I'm like, well, maybe not. So kept doing that. And then everything really changed when my brother had a guitar. So my brother was playing guitar, and I kept, that guitar, I like the look of that guitar. Maybe I want to play guitar one day. And I was maybe 12, and my brother's 7 years older than me. So he'd go out at night, and I'd sneak into his room and I'd find the guitar handbook. For those that have ever read that, it's that big book with all the chords, every single chord you can possibly play. So I just basically went cover to cover through the guitar handbook, learning chords and learning chord progressions, learning those simple songs, how to go from an E to an A to a D, all that sort of stuff. And he didn't even know this because, again, I'd sneak into his room, play his guitar while he was out, and then he'd put it all back, and then he'd get back. And then one day he came in and caught me playing, and he's like, "You little bugger, you're better than me. This is not cool." So he's like, "Oh, no, you can't have my guitar anymore." So I'm like, all right, I better buy myself a guitar. And around that time, hanging out with friends, and one of my friends played guitar. Another one said, "Oh, I play guitar too." And we're like, "No, you need to be the bass player because we need a bass player." And I don't know that you're an actual bass player, and this is no disrespect to bass players, but when I was a kid, especially in the 90s grunge era, everyone just wanted to play guitar.
Yeah.
And there was the person that ended up playing bass was just like, "We have all the guitars, you must learn bass."
Yeah, someone's got to do it, right? Yeah.
And it's so important, but it's like, yeah, you got to be the bass player. So a mate of mine played bass, and then a friend of his played drums, and then we put this little 3-piece band together called Scarpa, which you can still find if you dig in the depths of SoundCloud. You can find old Scarpa tracks that I've put up there from way back. So we did the normal thing. You do the demo tape, you do the gigging around town, trying to get gigs, and all the gigs back those days, and you might have had the same sort of thing, or folks might have experienced this. You basically get paid virtually nothing, but if you bring people in, then you get a bit more, and maybe you get a little bit if they buy lots of drinks and whatever. So we played maybe 10 gigs, and each gig we made like $100. So we'd be pulling $30 each per gig. And we realized that, hey, that wasn't really going to be a long-term thing. Then we just all drifted away. So that sort of music there, I was playing guitar and then started singing at that point. Same problem, we needed a singer. We all kind of belted something out, and I sounded the most like Eddie Vedder. And I had the long hair at the time, so I looked most like Eddie Vedder too. So we wanted to be Pearl Jam or Nirvana. I looked like a slightly chunkier Eddie or Kurt. So I was doing the singing and the guitar playing, and we put out demos, and we did the whole thing. And then they went off to university. I got a full-time job and a full-time girlfriend, and then 20 years of crickets. because everything just gets in the way and you stop doing it. I still go to gigs, still loved my music, still went out and saw bands and picked up the guitar occasionally and had a little, little fiddle on it, but didn't really do anything. And then I got to when my first child was born. And you're sitting around like, as you'd know and as others would know, when you've got a baby, you don't have a whole lot of time. But there are times where you just you've put them to sleep and you're just sitting there and I'm like, ooh, I've got this old MIDI keyboard and a laptop computer. If I plug that into that, can I like record? And they're like, ooh, I can. And then I bought like the cheapest $30 USB audio interface. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to plug in my guitar and my microphone and start recording. So I got back into recording and like, this is kind of cool. And then I had a second child and all that goes out the window. So now you're juggling 2 children 0 times. So kind of put that away. And then it was once the kids were like 2 and 4, and I had a little more actual time, I discovered this thing called GarageBand sitting on my phone and my iPad. So I was like, okay, this might be even easier because now I can record in my lunch break at work. I can get up in the morning and sneak into the cupboard next to my bedroom and record guitars because I can plug my guitar into my iPad and just start shredding and no one has to be woken up and I don't wake the kids. So I learned that. And then I was like, no one's really putting out a lot of content about GarageBand, especially on the iPhone and iPad. I wonder why that is. And I found at that point Patrick from the GarageBand Guide, who many of you would know, and he was doing a little bit of iOS then, but mostly Mac. And I was like, I need to learn how to do this. I'll just make videos. At that time, it was really just for me to make sure I learned how to do it, and I could, once I worked out how to do automation on GarageBand iPhone, I could go back and then watch my own videos, and I still do that to this day. There's sometimes I go into YouTube, I'm like Pete John's GarageBand compression settings, and find out what I used to use the compressor for. So I started making videos, and that was 9 years ago, and just kept making videos and kept doing that as a side gig. Got to the pandemic times, the channel would sort of started growing and getting like able to actually, make a side income from that. And I said to myself, once I get to the point where it can replace my day job, I would like to quit my day job. And then my day job said, guess what? We're making you quit your day job. So then, started doing it full time from there. And look, there's a lot. I know that's a long-winded way of sort of telling it, like the whole life story there. But there's little bits along the way there, like Your Music Live, the show where I showcase people's music, the Song in a Month challenge stuff that started way back in 2017, and then the first Songtember that was 2018, I believe, 2019. There's been a lot of things along the way, and from the very start of the channel, it's always been about helping people create, record, and release their music. Because basically my premise there was it was kind of inexcusable that I had spent all this time without making music. And I wanted to make sure that other people like me, the weekend warriors, the dads, the full-time workers that thought they had no time, didn't have the gear, didn't have the talent, didn't have the capacity to make music. I'm like, sorry, block your ears, people, but bullshit. Everyone's got a few minutes here and there where they can actually create music. And I think we make excuses to not do it. And then, if you put your mind to it, you can actually get it done. So I wanted to be I wanted to be people to point at me and go, hey, if that weird guy could do it, then I could do it too. So that's what's got us to where we are here today.
Well, that is a fantastic, when I would interview people, for hiring, I would say, give me your life story in 5 minutes, leave out no details. And you just did that perfectly. See, I'd hire you based on that because you told the story and it was concise. But I mean, that's a great, that's how I discovered you. I kind of was different. I've always been a Mac guy because I've been into graphics and printing. So I always knew GarageBand was there, but I never did anything with it because back then I didn't understand that you actually needed the interface. Yeah. And when I finally figured that out, and again, this was at the pandemic, it's like, what am I going to do? I want to record. I can't play in church anymore. So I stood in line at a micro center and I mean, this huge, it's like a food market size store, huge, full of electronics. And they would let 10 people in at a time because, again, during the pandemic, everything was stupid. And so, had to wear a mask, and 10 people in this giant store. Bought my Behringer, which I still use because it's a great friggin' Euphoria, and went off and running. And it was like, And as soon as I plugged it in and stroked my guitar, I went, aha, now we've got something, boys and girls.
Yep.
And off we went. And I found there was a couple people. I found Patrick Bard, found you. A little later, I found Jade Starr. There was a guy, Lewin, who did a lot of GarageBand stuff, and it was desktop.
Yeah,
so
GarageBand and beyond. Yeah, he's not doing as much these days, but
he's kind of gone back to his full-time music career apparently. But I found those channels, and that's where I started to learn. And I would always watch yours, even though, I mean, I have an iPhone, but I don't use it that much for music creation. It's for grabbing ideas.
Yeah.
But so I've always, because I'm sitting in front of my desktop anyway, so I usually work on desktop. But compression is compression. Automation is automation. All of these, there's very little on your channel or Jade's channel that I can't use, even though I don't use GarageBand iOS that much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I hope that I can provide is that by being edutainment, by trying to keep things a bit fun and a bit light and a bit silly from time to time, it helps folks out. And I've got people that, watch my GarageBand tutorials that don't even use GarageBand. And they're like, I pick up bits and pieces here and there, and I use it with Reaper, which is what I use. And then they're like, I go on my day. So, I think it is good. And I've always tried to do that because I think there's enough stuff out there that is long-winded and dull and boring, and just might as well read the manual if you're going to do that. So I take my job as host is to soup it up to keep it simple. And like you said, the very fact, the criticism I get with some of the stuff I do is that I'm already past that, and the stuff that you put out there is very simple and very basic. And what I say is that you got to understand that there's people coming in all the time.
There's always new people.
Level.
Yep.
And there's the questions that you have that they feel stupid or feel like inferior asking these questions out loud. But if they can type it into their YouTube search and find the answer, then that's good. Like one of the videos I did early on was, how do you get more than 8 bars in your GarageBand? Because on iOS, it's really not intuitive.
No, it's a pain in the ass. Once I figured that out based on your channel, then okay. But
so many people were just like, I can't even do that. And I did an interview early on with Lid Shaw, who's Recording Studio Rockstars. He's got a great podcast and channel. And he said that to me. He's like, I've always wanted to use GarageBand, but you can only record like 8-bar loops, can't you? And I was like, oh no. And then when I showed him that not only can you record entire songs in sections, but you can plug in microphones and guitars and MIDI keyboards and do automation and add compression and add effects and add external AUV3 plugins and effects, use guitar simulators, it blows people away, because if you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you don't even know what to ask. So the amount of times that people have watched something and I know they're going into it going, this is too simple, this is such a basic, I know this, and then afterwards they're like, wow, but I didn't know that. So, and I'll do the same. Like, you can always learn something new. If you've got that appetite for learning and that appetite for knowledge, there's always some additional knowledge or learning there in everything, in every conversation, in every interaction you have. For instance, we learned Chris Lane Sr.'s original stage name. So yeah, you didn't know that before, and now you do.
Now you do. Well, and I gotta say, with GarageBand too, it's free, folks. It is without a doubt the most powerful DAW that costs nothing. There's other free DAWs out there, but they can't do a quarter of what GarageBand can do. And I have Logic, and I almost never use it because for me, mostly a singer-songwriter, it just does what I need it to do. And if I need something a little higher level, I got friends with Logic who are a lot better than I am, and I just shoot it off to them and go, hey, help a brother out.
Fix it. Yeah, and that's 100% it. And I think a lot of folks, and this is the frustration thing, and I've learned this over time, that people have this plateau of their knowledge as well. So when you're learning, like when you first got your Behringer and you plug in, you're like, this is awesome. I bet you just plugged in and went for it. And you were probably twiddling knobs and dials and you didn't know what any of them did, but you're like, hey, this doesn't rock. And then you turn up a dial and now it rocks. Like, that's what you do when you start out. But then you learn a bunch of stuff, and then you're like, oh, maybe I do need to add a compressor to every channel. Or maybe I do need to automate that vocal. Or maybe I do need to EQ this because the top end might be a bit crispy. And you reach this plateau where you start actually making worse music because you kind of know just enough to get yourself into trouble. And that's the big thing I've been pushing lately is like, when you hit that plateau, realize that we all do, and you will do that. You'll just have this massive journey of learning when you start out, and then you'll hit a wall and it'll feel like you're going down. You're not, you're just overthinking it. You just need to push through that, and then eventually you'll peak back up and you'll learn some new things, and then you'll know how and when to apply all the stuff you learn. Because if you watch too much YouTube, I mean, YouTube's wonderful. It's a great place to get great information, but it should be 80-20. If you're really keen on making music, you should be watching 20% of YouTube tutorials and making 80% of music. I think a lot of people flip that around and they spend a lot of time watching and learning and then not enough time applying. And as you know, anyone that's worked in any business or any capacity, you got to apply the skills. If you don't apply the skills, you lose them or you misinterpret them, and it doesn't work out for you. So,
well, that was probably what really ramped up my learning curve is I would watch a video and learn something about compression and then would go do it. Go do it right away, learn about it. And I think to your point about the plateau, I think we all get to a point where, man, we want to use every plugin and we want to do this and that, and we overdo. And I have taken what I was doing and stripped it down 3 times now. It's like, okay, back to zero. Now, why did I have 2 compressors on the vocal? Why did I have 2 EQs? There was a reason. Do I need this? And, you go through and you adjust your settings. And I think most of us, especially, I will say this for singers, most singers when they're starting out put way, way, way too much effects. Reverb, everything, because it's that little imposter syndrome. We're a little self-conscious.
You hide in it, don't you? You hide in the reverb.
Yeah, and you hide behind, and you bury yourself in the mix, and you got all that reverb, and you feel like, well, okay, this is all right. And yeah, my advice, folks, just have a confident singer is going to sound great, and then you add a taste of effects to get that radio kind of sound, and you're good to go, folks.
Yeah, and I think, as far as practical tips go, I think there's 2 things you can do a lot here that will help. Number 1 is take all the effects off and just listen. It could be very daunting, very confronting, but I think you need to learn what your voice sounds like without anything on it at all, because if you don't, you'll never know how much you need to add to actually enhance it. You won't know if it's being enhanced because you don't know what it sounds like naturally. And the other thing is to turn it up to 11, to literally grab every plug-in and just experiment. The best way to find out what something does is to turn it all the way up. You won't want it all the way up.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Then you'll hear exactly what it's going to do and how it's going to sound. And you'll realize exactly how little of it you actually need on there. You turn your reverb up to 10 and then you turn it back down to even 5 and you're like, that's still way too much. And then you turn it down to 2 and then you're like, okay, maybe 1.5. So yeah, you don't learn something until you know the min max, until you can work out what it does and what it doesn't do. I don't think you really have an understanding of what you should be using and why. And then when you turn it all up, so I love that. When I get a new plugin or something, throw all the presets on too. Just throw all the presets, see what all the dials do, and see what it dials in, and then turn everything back to 0 once you've learnt that. Turn them all up to 11, see what they all do, and then just about adding to taste. And it's like having a coffee. You don't want to, if you're putting like hazelnut flavoring in your coffee in the morning, you need a tiny little dash. You don't know what happens if you throw too much in there. It's like, oh, now I can't taste the coffee.
Well, you're drinking hazelnut and not coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
and folks, everyone knows on this show, we're all about the food. Those effects and everything, they're seasoning. Yeah. A pinch of salt is fantastic. If you throw a ton of salt on there, it's not so good. Just little bits.
I did that to my eggs today. I needed 2 grinds of the salt grinder, and I went 3, and then my eggs tasted too salty. So exactly, you got to do it.
Yeah, I have the perfect sized thumbs for a pinch, and that's
I shouldn't
what I
trust
do.
the machine. I should do it by hand. I should do the pinch.
Like everything else, do it by hand. Well, that is a fantastic. I love the philosophy in that. Because I think that's where we all get to, and we experiment around and just get to what works for us. Now, the other thing, of course, if you really want to get good as a singer and just listen to yourself, no effects, totally a cappella.
Yep.
And you'll learn where you need to pay attention to pitch, and you'll learn about tone, and you'll learn about breathing properly. And it doesn't take much time for you to go, okay, these are the things I need to do. And your performance will get so much better so quickly. But people are afraid of that because, I've always recorded, and I've always been on, video or whatever. So I'm used to my own voice. I've been used to my own voice since I was 12. But many people, that still just freaks them out when they hear themselves and they're like, "Muh." And I'm very professional. I won't name names, but Jay did an interview with somebody who I consider to be one of the most accomplished singers in the community. And this particular person was like, "Oh, I hate hearing myself." And like, well, we love hearing you. So, get over it.
Yep. Yeah, and one of my favorite vocalists of all time is Michael Stipe of REM, and he's not what you'd call a traditionally excellent vocalist, in terms of hitting notes and doing things, but he's got an amazing and very interesting voice. And some people love it, some people hate it. Everything's up to taste, all subjective. But he's the same. Like he cannot sing. Everyone else has to leave the studio when he's singing. He can't sing in front of producers. He doesn't ever want to hear himself back until it's back in the mix. So it's a very usual thing. But for most of it, especially if you're self-producing, you kind of don't have that luxury. So you kind of need to gently and eventually rip the Band-Aid off. And it's not as bad as you think. That's the other thing. Everyone thinks, the first time you start listening to your voice, everyone thinks it's very bad. And you'll have qualities of your voice that you don't love, but once you listen to it long enough, it kind of goes away. And you also learn ways to work around it or to change it, because you have a natural voice. So I'm talking with what is my natural voice now, but natural is a bit of a misleading term, because when I started doing public speaking and I started recording videos and I started listening to my voice, I realized a couple of things, and I'll give you an example. If I met you at the pub right now and I was talking to you, I'd be talking to you like this. So I talk at about twice the speed that I talk to when I'm talking on video. And my tone is also much higher. And when I get really excited, I actually talk like this. I go up into my nasal zone, which I don't like the sound of. And I sound a bit like a chipmunk, because I sound like a little excitable chipmunk. And because I'm speaking with Australian accent, people often don't understand what I'm saying. So I learned two things early on. When I did public speaking courses, they sat me down and they said, "Pete, you talk too fast and you need to lower your pitch. If you want people to listen to and engage with what you're saying, you need to be slower and lower." And the other thing is, don't be afraid of pauses. A pause that feels like it's about 10 seconds sounds perfectly natural, and you can use that for emphasis. So they were the sort of things that I learned early on. I still work on it to this day. The reason I watch my videos back and my family think I'm weird because I'm sitting there watching my video after I've produced it and edited it and put it out there is that I'm like, okay, I used too many ers in that sentence there, and that sentence I spoke too quickly. So you kind of have to be your own biggest critic, but not in a way that you're putting yourself down or you're being self-deprecating. Just think of it like self-analysis. You're just looking at it and going, what did I do well in this, and what can I work on? Because you can change it. That's the thing. If you don't like the way it is, there's some things about yourself and about what you do you can't change, but some things you can definitely tweak. And the reason that practice makes progress is kind of my catch cry on everything, is that perfection is unachievable and it's also subjective, but progress can be measured. And I love things that can be measured. You know how you're progressing. If you put an hour a week into your music and then you find 3 hours a week to put into your music, guess what? That's measurable progress. If you make one song in a month and then the next month you make 2 songs in the month, guess what? Measurable progress.
You're
Not perfect.
200% better.
You're 200% better, exactly. So measure yourself based on the effort you put in, not the output you put out. And that just makes things so much easier, and it feels a heck of a lot better. You don't feel like a failure because you're not reaching these high goals that you think you should be reaching. You're just getting better all the time.
Well, as an old coach, we look at the film. What did we do right on this play? Did we miss an assignment? All that kind of stuff. And for us as creators, you should be doing that. You should be analyzing your performance. If you're on a YouTube like this, I watch back my replays because I have a few annoying speech habits that I'm really working on breaking. I had a coworker, and I hate the expression, And every sports guy, well, you know, and you know, and you know, and you know. And I learned it from him, and I've been on a 5-year mission to eradicate that from my vocabulary. But it's a hard, to your point, we're afraid of gaps. Yeah. Well, if you do sales, we had an old saying, the last guy to speak loses. So I'm fine with a very long gap. And I can sit here and it's good. That part is okay, but everybody has some annoying tick or some speed, and you don't hear it until you look at the film, as we used to say as coaches, and go, oh, wait a minute, that needs to be better. I can do that better. And same thing with recording. It's you don't put yourself down, but be critical and go, that was a little pitchy. Do I need to sing that differently? You know, dadgummit, why didn't I remember to tune my guitar? This was a great take, but the damn guitar's out of tune. I can't use it. I got to do it again, and so forth.
That's it. And yeah, again, it is not easy, but it is worthwhile because you will feel better once you actually identify those things. It can be confrontational, and a lot of people have tried to do it. And again, go easy on yourself. And it's why having communities like this, where you've got trusted people that can give you that feedback, can really help out. Someone in the community pointed out something that it was a complete blind spot. The other thing is you often have blind spots because you are so used to what you've been doing, and you've been maybe doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years that you don't realize it. And I had a habit of making that noise. And it's a really irritating noise. And when I listen to it back, it's kind of like it's a nervous tick, a nervous thing where I just sort of like make a little mouth noise. And someone said, I really love your videos, but I really don't like it when you make that mouth noise. And I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing it. And I had to go back and listen to videos, and it was quite shocking. And I felt pretty bad for a couple of days until I realized, no, this is an opportunity. This isn't a negative. This is a positive, because I didn't know it before. I wasn't hearing it when I was listening. Now I hear nothing but that, so I can work on how to actually remove it. And the other thing was, people were talking in the chat here, Costa was saying like and you know. And there's a podcast I love, and I won't name it, but the one particular host says like you know at least 100 times per podcast. And it gets to the point where I have to turn it off for a while because I get fatigued by the like you know.
Yes.
And they've got really important points to make, and they're a really intelligent person, and I really love the content. But if there's these little delivery things that take you out of that, that can be really hard to come back. It's like someone using too much auto-tune in their song. It can be a great song, well written, well sung. If I just hear too many little artifact auto-tune up and downs, I'm out. It takes me out of the whole song because it removes that human touch. I would rather a couple pitchy notes but delivered with passion than hearing that wavery auto-tune. So, but they may not know that. They may listen to it and go, hey, this sounds much better than my natural singing voice.
Pitch. Well, yeah, you are and you are.
You are, but you sound like T-Pain because you're like, woo. So, yeah.
Oh, that is so true. What just such a good point, too. Here's one that my wife clued me in on, and so now I'm really sensitive to it in my own stuff. But we were listening to a very popular country female artist, and I can't remember, but she does this and sings. And my wife goes, man, she really sucks up the breath before she sings. And it stuck in my mind. And so now in my own vocals, I go in and, man, I chop that right at the beginning because I don't want you to hear me go, it's just, and it's one of those, like you say, one of those artifact things. Once it's pointed out, you can't not hear it. And it ruined this artist for me. I really used to like her, but my wife killed her. I can't listen to her now because all I hear is that huge inhale, and she does it every expression.
And you might go down the path of maybe you remove too much. So that's the thing. Once you are aware of something like that, sometimes you steer too far into the skid and you remove too much of that, and then you sound like a robot. So then you might need to, use some automation. Sorry, I said, there, that was deliberate. You might need to use some automation. I was just seeing if people are paying attention to make sure that it just ramps up, or put a noise gate on there so that you don't hear some of those breath sounds as they're coming in because, yeah, it can sound. I'm the same. I hate the breath, but I also hate when I'm listening to like a really long passage and I hear no human breathing at all. So
Yes.
I don't know. And look, it works for some songs. It depends on the type of song that you're singing. But if it's a really heartfelt, like folk song, sometimes just having that inhale can
You need a
really
little
sort of
bit.
sell
And
it. But if
again,
it's
perfect point there, because we get too far in this extreme. Well, we must do this. And to your point, if dead silence, then all of a sudden, and you hear vocals, it's disconcerting. I love my noise gate. I have a really good noise gate, and I use it all for exactly that reason. Just get that background stuff down, but you get that little bit in, so it's a little more natural.
That's it, yeah. And you I mean, you'll hear it, like Chris and I are both talking right now. And so, like sometimes I'll be listening again to a podcast where whenever they completely stop, you hear nothing at all. And you're like, and sometimes you think, did it stop? Did I accidentally pause the show? Did YouTube crash? Because you hear nothing. And I think sometimes we go a bit nuts with that. We're like, we need to remove every skerrick of noise from the background. And I don't think that's always the case. Sometimes you need a little bit of life there just to show that things are happening.
Well, there is a level of background noise always present. Your ears are conditioned to that. So
Yeah.
to your point, dead silence, it's disconcerting. I love being in nature. But there are times that it is disconcerting because it's so quiet. And then I really hear how badly my ears ring. Like, normally it's an okay level and it doesn't bother me. But when it's dead silent out there, I go, oh, my hearing is bad.
Yes.
Son of a gun.
I agree. Yeah. At night, trying to get to sleep, I have to have some sort of ambient noise because A, stuck with my own thoughts, but B, stuck with the sounds in my ears that I hear when there's no sound. It's not. We all stood way too close to stacks of speakers when we were younger, and we're paying the price for it in our later years.
And I had a kid who was a drummer, so there was that too.
You
So
go. You get
stand in
double
front of the
whammy.
cymbals. And back when I was playing, you didn't have risers, so those damn cymbals were right at your ear level.
Yeah, and we didn't wear earplugs because we were too tough for that.
Yeah, we were morons. Yeah. Between the rock band days and, firearms, it's amazing. I can hear. My hearing isn't that bad, all things considered, but
Could be worse.
I've abused it. Well, let's take a teeny bit of a break. In that, let's hear some more Pete Johns music. So I am going to cue up one, and you can tell everybody about. This is from your EP that you did. I got to find the right one. This is a song called Fence Sitter from your EP.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about this a little bit, Pete.
Yeah, so Fence Sitter I wrote because I have been accused of being a fence sitter in the past because I like to avoid confrontation. One thing you'll probably know about me if you know me for a while is that I don't like to get involved in the black, white, up, down, left, right stuff because I think everything is a murky grey. And so I wrote this song about the fact that a lot of people said, you need to decide, you need to be all this or all that. And I said, I don't think we do. I think everything has a nuance. Everything is at least 1% one way or the other. And I think the problem we get into in society is that we're not listening to others because we think we're 100% right and other people are 100% wrong. So I wrote this song called Fence Sitter as a bit of a plea to folks that come at me with you need to make a call and you need to make a decision and stop sitting on the fence, Pete, and say, well, actually, sometimes considering both sides of an argument or considering both options or both opportunities is actually a good thing and the right thing to do.
All right, everybody. Pete Johns, Fence Sitter.
Come out every now and then. Think a lot of things that unless you choose to ask. Sometimes it's easier to fly when you're just too tired to fight. I'm a fence sitter. Sometimes I like to keep my thoughts to myself. It's easier facing up to the conflict, and I know that not everyone's this way, but it's how I get through the day. Fence sitter. You might think I'm weak and I should just express myself, but it's not black and white all of the time. I should pick a side, go all in with one direction, but I don't think that's right for me anyway. Sometimes I try to close my mind. There's always another side. I'm a fence sitter. Sometimes I like to keep my thoughts to myself. It's easier facing up to the conflict, and I know that not everyone's this way, but it's how I get through the day. Fence sitter. And I don't expect you to be the same, but I'm asking for you to refrain from making me feel ashamed.
Ooh, are you muted still, Chris, or am I not hearing?
Hey!
Hey!
It's not a show unless you do the mute thing, right?
I'm like,
You're
I'm
not-
sure I was going to be the first person to do the.
I've gone 3 weeks, but I just broke my streak. Doggone it.
It happens. At least you had a guest on to tell you, rather than having to wait for all the people that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would have looked down and went, hey, dummy, your lips are moving. But, yeah.
Yes.
Well, here's something that came up, and it's our good friend Mike Shaner, and he made this comment. I need to figure out how to get better sounding mixes, and I haven't played anything since being told I need to. Totally took the wind out of my sails. Well, that's unfortunate. I got to say, because for the record, and I've said this publicly, so Mike knows this, I'm a huge fan of Mike Shaner's music. I'm a huge fan of Mike Shaner, the person. He's got some challenges, and he has not let that keep him from making great music. So that's a little bit that bothers me that somebody. Now, if it was a friend and they were saying, hey, maybe this part could improve or that part, that's one thing. And I think Mike said down later, well, I got to find the comment. But I think here it is. He said, I appreciate honesty and I'm not upset at who said it. Well, and that's fine. I mean, you don't have to be upset with them. But as Pete and I were discussing, and I'm going to let Pete take this one on, all work in progress. Whatever your mix is, it captured that feeling that you had. It captured the song. It's perfect as is. Can your next song be better? Could you do a better mix? Maybe. But, you cannot... Everybody's got an opinion, and you know what they say about opinions. So, yeah, take it away on this a little bit, Pete, and give Mike a little bit of a pep talk.
So Mike, yeah, look, this is something, and first of all, perfectly natural, normal human reaction. In fact, if you didn't think that way, as Chris and I pointed out at the very start of the show, in case you weren't here, you're probably a sociopath. So it's great to know that you're a thinking human with empathy like most of us here. And most of us are overthinkers. Most of us in the creative community in general are overthinkers, where we like to... We like things to be good, and we like to... We often are our own worst enemies in terms of the criticism we give ourselves. The problem is that, and I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here, but if you love all of the reality shows about music on TV, more power to you. They obviously are watched by someone because they keep making them. I find them really hard to watch because they say one person is good and everyone else is bad. They probably don't mean to say that, but they really kind of do that. As soon as you make something a competition, and I get it, some things in life have to be a competition. If there's one job and 10 people, guess what? One person has to get it and 9 people miss out. If there's 30 teams in a league, guess what? You can only have one champion that year. So sports has to be a competition. Music? Does music have to be a competition? Well, if you need to reach number one, or you want to win awards, or you want to make this your career, or you want to make $1 million or get a gold record, maybe. But for the rest of us, it doesn't. I think it's overblown, the whole competitive nature of music, of the vanity metrics of how many streams you get or how many views you get or being better than someone. It really is irrelevant in music because everyone is at their own level. And everyone is, as we said, a work in progress, to be a bit cliched. But there doesn't have to be stakes. The other side to this is if someone gives you their opinion, that's fabulous, that's great. But I could play a song right now that I think is one of the best songs ever written and Chris thinks is rubbish. Because that's just how music works, and vice versa. There is music styles and music types that I really don't dig, and there's others that I love that other people wouldn't be into. And you can say, oh yeah, but Pete, they're saying it's about my mix. That's subjective too. I like songs where you hear the vocals and they really cut through the mix, as you've probably heard from the songs that you've heard so far. Other people like 70s, 80s style rock mixes where the vocals are back and buried a little bit more. Some people like really sort of digital, clean, crisp recordings. Other people like Michael Thompson, who's part of this community, makes these songs that sound like you're standing side stage in 1975 at like an outdoor gig.
There couldn't be more analog sounding. Yeah.
Right. So you could say, hey, one's good and one's bad, one's right and one's wrong. So it's actually a really good point you make, because the last song I just played is about exactly this. Because some people will say, oh man, I love rock and roll music, and if you listen to dance music, you're terrible, you're bad, and you should feel bad. And other people say, oh no, if it doesn't have a beat, if it doesn't make me move and groove, I don't want to listen to no sludgy stoner shoegaze. Are either of them right or wrong? No, they're just digging what they like. And that's the thing. Music doesn't need to be a competition, and it doesn't need to be this holy grail of how do I get to the top and how do I be better than people. And in fact, I'd argue and say that if anyone's giving you feedback that is not trying to build you up and make you better, it might not be coming from a place of love and care. It might be coming from a place where they're feeling vulnerable. And I've seen this time and time again. If you've been part of communities, you would have seen this. The people that provide, and I'm not saying this person might have been 100% trying to help you and make you better, but I've seen it too many times where someone is just telling someone their music sucks to push them down to make them feel better. There's a lot of self-esteem issues when it comes to creativity, and some people don't know how to handle that, and it manifests. Their low self-esteem and their ego manifests in them pulling other people down instead of being the coach that Chris and I were talking about and trying to build people up.
Right. And that's what it's all about. I know this is where Pete's coming from. I don't do a lot of it here, but I certainly did as a coach. My job was to put the player in their best opportunity to be successful, knowing that there's a lot of different skills levels. You got any team, you got 5 people, 10 people, however many on any particular team. A couple of those dudes are really good, or a couple of those women are really good. The rest of them are okay. You know, they're adequate. Most bands that we love, not all, you know, there's somebody in that band that is okay. They're good at their job. They're good enough. the other people are better, whatever. But as a band, as a cohesion, they're fantastic. And, so that's what you need to put yourself. Most of us are our own little bands. Just put yourself, Mike, in a position to be successful. What do you like about your songs? And what do you think, do you think your mix is sludgy? Do you think your mix doesn't have enough sheen? Whatever. These are all things that are easily corrected if you identify what maybe you feel like is not working for you. It may be that you did the song and went, I love it. That's the way it is. Yeah. And I've got songs, I think, in my past that I could look at now and go, I wish I'd done a few things differently. But they're done. It's done. It's recorded. It's put out there. It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, if you listen to that song Fence Sitter that we just listened to, there is something that grates on me in that song, which is that the fingerstyle guitar is way too squeaky. And I tried at the time to EQ some of that squeak out, and I got it to the point where it was okay. I listen to it now, and if I have my critical listening ears on, I'm like, that was too squeaky. Look, am I going to go back and beat myself up about it? No, I think it's still a pretty cool song. And most other people probably don't even notice that. But what did I do about it? I learnt that when I do fingerstyle guitar, that I make sure that I put some powder on my fingers beforehand, or sometimes just a little moisture or something, just to make sure they're sliding and they're not sticking. Or I change up the strings, or I use a guitar that has non-wound strings, so I'm not getting that scraping noise quite as much. So there's things that you can learn from it, but the key thing is to go back and look at it and then go, what am I going to change about it? And the other point I'd have about success, and this is a big thing in coaching, I didn't coach. I'm going to ask you afterwards, Chris. I'm keen to know. I don't know what you coached, so now I want to hear your coaching story, your coaching background. But I've coached in business, so I coached people in call centers and in customer service and the like, and it was the same sort of thing there, is that people are either not aware of what they're doing, and then you can help them get over those sort of things. But there's so many things that you can learn, but you've got blind spots, and that's the thing. You can identify some of the things yourself, but you do need other people and trusted people that can help you. And I think that's why I started the communities I did. So I know not everyone's a big Facebook fan, but we've got the Create, Record, Release Facebook group. There's, of course, the Songwriters Anonymous. I know you guys help each other out a heap with this sort of stuff as well. There are people out there that genuinely want to help you. And the difference will be if someone says your mixes aren't good enough, I would take that feedback with a grain shaker mound of salt, which is like I've had on my eggs, way too much salt this morning. But if someone says to you, I've got an idea that might help you mix, that's the sort of person you want to talk to. That's the difference, is if they just say this sucks versus if they say, I think you can do better with this part. That's it. It's about identifying specifics. Like if you're a coach and someone on your team is not pulling their weight, you wouldn't just say to them, hey, you suck, pull the lead out, do better. It's like, what does that mean? How do I do better? Whereas if you say, when you're on the back check, just make sure that you skate into the zone before the forward winger hits the blue line because you're letting them get past you every time. That's practical information that they can actually use. And then the next time there's a rush, they'll be like, oh, cool, I'll start back skating a second earlier. So, yeah, that's where it's at. You got to think of it in terms of if someone's trying to help you or is someone just trying to put you down or make you not create music. Because that's the worst thing that can happen is you stop making music because of what someone says, especially if it's a stranger on the internet. Because don't get me started about strangers on the internet trying to bring you down and people taking the advice and the feedback of strangers on the internet. It's like, no, non-starter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, James, I would counter that a little bit. Yeah, you can be careful because the internet exposes you to everybody. And there's a whole lot of everybody's out there that have no business commenting on any particular topic. And I think this is what's great about this community is, you can develop relationships. We have our Songwriters Anonymous group. That's great. I have other trusted friends. My song for this cancer album, did the song, and I thought, you know what? I don't know if this is the right song for this album because it's for kids. It's, supposed to be a little bit uplifting. And so I ran it past a couple trusted people. And their comment was, yeah, it's a little dark and you can feel the pain, but it's an uplifting song. It's got a lot of hope in it. okay, I trust their judgment in that, and so I went with it. And that's what you got to do. You got to find people that you can trust to say, does this suck? Do I need help? What could I make better?
Yeah, and to with James's point there as well, if you don't want to do that, so if you don't want to share with that, I think the point might have been that Google and YouTube and social media are your friend, because you can just search that stuff out completely anonymously and just say, if you think, hey, my mix sounds sludgy, YouTube how to fix sludgy mix, and you're going to get 10 videos from 10 different people, and
No question.
they won't all have exactly the right answer, but if you watch a bunch of them, you'll get some ideas. And that's where I got the idea with my squeaky strings. I watched a bunch of videos, and some people said, oh, talcum powder, dude, it's the absolute go-to. And someone said, oh, just dip your fingers in water before you play, and that way they'll slide easier and you won't get the squeaks. And I tried all these things, and now I've got those in my kit bag for next time. So yeah, get ideas, but realize that there's no holy grail. There's no one idea. There's no one person that's going to be right. And there's not one answer that's right for you. This isn't 2 + 2 = 4. This is subjective. This is art. If you try to treat art as mathematics, it's not going to work for you, because it is not. It is creative and it is subjective, which again is why I rage against The Voice and the American Idols and all the other shows that I really dislike, because
I have
they
no
try to
interest in those.
quantify a non-quantifiable thing, and I think it kind of sucks.
Yeah. The original American Idol, they were trying to quantify this. Hey, how can we get ratings, and how can we take somebody and sell 1 million records? That's, they had an agenda. Oh, and also, Hupfang or whatever that guy was. How can we have somebody on who's so flippin' bad that everybody talks about it for months and months and months? I felt bad for that dude. Gee whiz.
Yeah, and look, and there's someone that probably thought they were a good musician, or who thought, I don't know. It's it annoys me, because
Not a fan.
No, not a fan at all. And look, again, there must be people out there that are fans of all this reality.
Well, somebody watches it, yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, and if you do, okay, I was going to say I don't judge you. I judge you a little tiny bit, but I got to be honest, a little bit judge you. But I watch The Simpsons, and I love that. And some people might think The Simpsons is terrible. So hey, each to their own, I guess.
We all like what we like.
I like hockey, and some people think hockey's a terrible sport. Hey, coaching. Come back to that, Chris. What did you coach? I'm intrigued.
Well, I'll go back. I played pretty much every sport you can as a kid. And I was pretty athletic, but, some sports I was better at others. Was, good enough to play varsity football, varsity track and field. I was done playing baseball by my sophomore year. Just didn't, excellent hitter, just didn't have a great arm throwing accuracy. So I was done that softball. Basketball too. Had some skills, but a little height challenged by the time I got into high school for some of these guys. Again, some of these dudes got really big, and, we're getting 6'5" guys playing in high school. Well, I ain't that big. So, but I did play a little college football. I walked on, didn't last very long, but the special teams coach just took a liking to me and said, I want to make you my coaching assistant. So I spent a season assistant coaching with the special teams coach. He was an older guy, great dude, and just got a bug for it. I loved coaching, and I refereed a lot too. I did every sport refereeing wise. But when my kids, they played soccer, they played hockey, they played football, they played all the sports, and I coached all of those.
Nice.
The story about my wife. Here's the funny thing. My old guitarist, his girlfriend was on a women's softball team. And there was another woman on the team, and those were the only 2 good players out of the 10 women on this team. Those were only 2 that were any good. Yeah. So my guitar player, Monty, says, Clubber, we gotta help these gals out. They need help. So he started position coaching on some of the fielding things, and I was their hitting instructor. And I got all these ladies hitting well. And there was an end-of-season party, and it was thank you to the coaches, Monty and Clubber. And it was at that party I met my wife. So coaching led to a 36-year happy marriage.
That's so cool. Oh,
but yeah, I love coaching. Because here's what's involved with coaching. You're looking at an athlete. What can they do? What can't they do? How do we put them in a position for success? How do we teach the techniques that they need to play their position in this particular sport? And I was very technique oriented. I was a goalies coach in hockey, and just teaching all of those little fundamentals, how you stop and how you square up on the shooter and, what's your distance and all those kind of things. And that just is applied to music too. There are techniques that you must learn. And then once you have the techniques, then you're free to be expressive and creative. And that's what great athletes do. They're expressive and creative within their technique and within their sport.
It's totally true. And you see this in sport and you see it in music too. There are some people that just need to grind the technique because they're not the natural talent. They're not going to be the superstar. They don't have the flair to be original and do things. They're not going to be Alex Ovechkin to be a right-hander that plays on the left wing and just sits in his office and slaps shots one time through all day. But you need to learn the fundamentals, and yet there'll be other people. And I think that there's debate. So people say to me often, do I need to learn theory to play music? And I say, look, no, you don't, but will it help you? Will the fundamental basics of knowing what a C chord is and then what your 1-4-5 and what your minors and your majors mean help you as a songwriter and as a creator? Yeah, it will. And there'll be some people that learn the basics and they've got such artistic flair, they take the basics and then make them their own and then never touch a theory book for the rest of their lives. And then there's other people that get into the theory and then just advance and just learn and learn and learn and learn. Weirdly enough, a lot of people that play in symphony orchestras are not necessarily naturally artistically talented people. They are the people who have an absolute work ethic, the absolute ability to practice 4 hours a day, every day without fail. And if you said to them, hey, let's do some jazz impro, man, let's just lay down a track here, they may struggle with that. I mean, some of them are great. Some of them can do both things. But some of them will be like, I can play exactly by sight what you write on that page in perfect timing, perfect tone, perfect pitch every time. And then you say to them, all right, jazz in G, go. They will just say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. Yet there's other people that have never read a note of music in their life, and you say, all right, jazz in G, and they're like, okay, I'm starting which note? Okay, I'm starting on that note. Okay, cool. I've got it now. And then they just go. And that's the thing. And it's different. And like you say, same in sports, there's different roles for different people. And I think anytime you try to homogenize something and say everything must be the same and everyone must learn the same and do the same, you're forgetting the fact that we're all humans. We all have different skills. We all have different flaws. We all have different abilities. We all have different time in our day to do different things. And it's fundamentally why I put out so many videos. I've put out nearly 3,500 videos in 9 years because some of my videos won't resonate with everyone. Some of them I'm doing a whole bunch of theoretical detail stuff that some people absolutely adore and other people zone out to. And then I'll do a 1 hour thing where I just show my process. I'm like, let's just record some guitars. Hit record. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's try it again. And some people absolutely love that stuff. So putting out different things, because for those that have studied sort of coaching and learning models, there's different ways people learn. There's auditory learners that learn by listening. That's me. I love hearing things. I listen to podcasts. I listen to things all the time. There's people who are visual learners. They like to look at it. Yep. They need to see it. There's kinesthetic learners. There's people that unless I do it, unless I physically apply it with my own hands, I can't do it. You can show me textbooks till the cows come home. If I don't touch it, I can't do it. So I need to mix that. And whenever I get a negative comment, I don't think, oh, I'm bad and I should feel bad. I think not as a defense mechanism, but a little bit. I say, sorry that didn't resonate with you. Why don't you try this video where I do it in a different way that might help you? And that's all it is, because you can't be everything to everyone every time. If you try to please everyone all the time, you'll please no one ever. So you've just got to do the best for you that you think is going to be able to resonate with the most number of people.
Right. And we're all combination learners. I mean, we may lean a certain way, but we all have little aspects of all of those. So you need to change up your technique. And, some kids, I would, get down in the stance and I would show them exactly what's doing. Other ones, I'd talk them through it, and just everybody's different and everybody grasps things at different speeds. So that's why talk to me a little bit about this is how this whole show came upon. The joke is Dom and I named it the Happy Hour because we're morons, and we forgot that was Pete's show where he plays the live music. We thought, oh, hey, we both like to drink a little whiskey every once in a while. We'll call it the Happy Hour, doop, doop, doop. And then we realized we stole Pete's name. And to Pete's credit, we said, look, we screwed up. Sorry, we'll change it. And he goes, don't worry about it. And it's not a thing. But you've been doing your Happy Hour live performances for 5 years now.
Yeah, so, and again, firstly, the Happy Hour, I think it's generic enough that I think I said to Dom and Chris, I'm like, hey, people have been calling things the Happy Hour for a lot longer than I have, so that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I started doing the Happy Hour literally the first week of lockdown because I realized that everyone was feeling a little sad. Let's be honest. People were feeling trapped and sad and scared. A lot of negative emotions going on in the world, and especially in the community. I was feeling it. I knew other people were feeling it. So I thought, hey, we need a time where we can all get together and do a little healing, maybe a little drinking, but also a little bit of music. And I thought, well, what do I used to like? What was great after a week of work where you were busting your gut, you're getting a lot of stuff done? It was the Happy Hour, wasn't it? It was going to the pub here in Australia or the bar or wherever and hanging out with friends, having a couple of beverages, and usually music was involved. I used to love going to pubs that had a jukebox or a cool live band or an acoustic duo or someone that was playing music. So I thought, let's bring the Happy Hour online. Why can't we do that? So I thought, right, I'll grab a beer, I'll grab my guitar, I'll sit here and we'll play some songs for an hour and we'll have a chat to people. And yeah, it was such a cathartic experience, and I think it helped me out because not only did it give me that connection with the community and hopefully give people a little positive encouragement, got to have a chat about what was going on in the world, but then we just played some music. And I've now got a repertoire of, I think at last count, something like 400 songs over the 5 years that I've learnt how to play, because each week I would try to add 1 or 2 songs to the repertoire. I already knew maybe 50 songs that I could play. And then throughout this, and because we do a different topic every week, I'll do songs about colours one week, and I'll do songs from the 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s, 90s. So I was just adding and learning new songs. So it was keeping me active. It was keeping my chops there as well, because I'd have to spend a few hours practicing during the week. So like literally this afternoon, after I finish this, go have some lunch, I'll need to come here into the studio and work on my songs. Now, if I didn't have a Happy Hour show to do in 2 days, I probably wouldn't sit here and play acoustic guitar and sing and practice for 2 or 3 hours. But because I do, it's forced me to actually have that musical engagement. So yeah, it's been really good doing it for 5 years, as you mentioned. And I don't see any end in sight, because it's just become part of it's Sunday at lunchtime for me. It's Saturday afternoon or evening for folks in US and Canada. And it's a good old time.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and we're big fans of that. When Lori had her back issues and wasn't doing the Friday night, I did a couple live streams there just kind of to fill the time. Drink with Thor, so that was kind of the thing. I'd have a couple drinks and play some songs. And our friend Dom, who went missing there for a while because he had to take care of some work business, but is back, and he's basically going to do Sundays for going forward. And I'm putting the link in right now. So here's where you can go check out the Dom Father on Sunday nights doing the Sunday slide. So, you got Pete's. There's plenty of live music here. Of course, G-May, where Dom and I both live every Saturday night, because that's such a great program. You can get live music here, and the fact that you've been doing that for 5 years is super cool.
Yeah, and the good news is I do it here in the studio quite often, but once we started being able to go back outside, I'd sort of take the Happy Hour on the road. So I did it down at the beach, and I did it at the park, and I did it in the backyard. So yeah, I've finally bought myself a new MacBook, so I now have my mobile rig back up and running. So very soon I'll be able to start actually doing it in nice scenic location, just in time for the winter time here in Adelaide, where it's going to start raining everywhere.
Good timing. Oops, but that's all right.
But no, it's good, and again, it's all about the fact that people can come together virtually. And yes, it's not quite the same as sitting in a bar or sitting in a pub and having a drink and being that physical contact with people, but it's the next best thing. And the fact that people from all walks of life and all, yeah, different countries and different areas can all just get together and just celebrate music, because that's what it's all about. It should be fun, and I think that sometimes we forget about that. Sometimes we get so caught up in the how-tos and the is my music good enough and the vanity metrics and the views and the counts and the premieres and the live streams. We forget that you should be having fun. And you just should be enjoying your music, because it should be one of the good. That's kind of why I don't like the competitive music shows, because music should be one of the good things in life that doesn't have to be a competition. It should just be
I
a
couldn't agree
celebration.
more. And I'll say this, Pete, I think our music shows are just this much better than seeing in a bar, because let's face it, there you're talking and you're trying to get the waitress's attention or the bartender's attention. And on our little shows, you can still have a drinky poo if you want to, but you're really focused on the music. And for a musician like myself, I'm all about the music. So that's why I love those kind of shows.
Yep. No, yeah. And like I wrote a song like early on, just before the happy hour, called Drinking With You, which is all about that. The fact that, hey, it's an awful lot cheaper, especially with the price of going to a bar these days and trying to buy drinks. So much cheaper to drink at home.
Right.
So, yeah, you get to enjoy music, you get to enjoy the company of people, albeit virtually, and, yeah, enjoy the music. So it's a good time.
Right. I forgot to mention Jade's, of course, does live every week and does music
Yes,
things.
and
And
a little birdie told me by looking at her stream that she's changing things up a little bit this week too. So that could be
Always.
something different and interesting. Jade never lets you rest. See, I'm Mr. Consistency. I'm Mr.
Yeah.
Like, all right, just rinse and repeat and do it. Whereas Jade's like, oh, just when you get used to something, I'm gonna just tweak it and change it just to keep you on your toes, which I love.
That's fun. I wish.
And Thomas Christ, of course. So Thomas's live shows are so high energy. Like I'm your laid back acoustic old dude. Thomas just has this energy of like an 18-year-old just out there just screaming. Into
It's
the mic. I love it.
fantastic. And shame on me for not mentioning it, but true confessions, because of when Jade's live show is and when Thomas's is, I seldom catch him because I'm either up hiking in the mountains or I'm working in the garden or something. That's just, it's not a good day for me personally, not a good time for me. But those shows exist and they're great shows.
Yeah.
I just don't always catch them, or I don't catch them very often.
And that's a really good point, Chris. And I want to reiterate that. So if I can just get on my soapbox for just a couple of minutes. Please, out there, folks in the community, you don't have to be everywhere and watch everything. We're not keeping tallies. We're not keeping roll calls of names of people who show up and who don't. We're not going to come down on you if you don't say hello to every other person in every other show that you go to. Again, this should be for fun and relaxation and enjoyment. And you should also have a life outside of YouTube. You could live your life online 24/7 in live streams. You probably shouldn't. I don't think it would be healthy for you
Not
to do
healthy.
so.
No.
So, yeah, I know people have said to me, they've come to me, and I'm so sorry, Pete, I didn't catch your show and it looked like it was really good. I'm like, that's cool. I don't catch shows all the time. Like, you do not need to feel guilty for what you do or don't do. When you got some time and you see I'm live, pop in and say hi, and that's cool. And if you don't, I get it, because we all have a lot of other things to do in our lives to live. So you're all good.
Absolutely. And,
yes.
let's review. The replay exists for a reason, guys.
Yeah.
It never goes away. You can go back on a more convenient time for you and get to enjoy the artist, and you're not there live, but that's okay. You're still getting it.
Exactly. And yes, as Gary said, I'm doing the angry hour this weekend. So the happy hour becomes the angry hour. So
I
we're
was going to
get-
ask you about that. Now, why is it the angry hour this week, Pete? What are we angry about?
Oh, we're just angry about it. No, I call it the angry hour just because it's like opposite of the happy hour. But no, I want to take the opportunity to play some of it, because normally I try to keep things upbeat. And look, it will still be, but it will be the songs that are a little more punchy and a little more rock and roll than I normally do. So no laid back finger style acoustic numbers with whistling and stuff. This is going to be the and look, for me, like if Jade started an angry hour, it would be like
It would be angry.
It would be angry. It would be death metal. So for me, we're talking like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, all those grunge bands that love to stare at the floor and call out Ticketmaster for being horrible companies and all that sort of jazz. So yeah, I'm embracing my youth. So all the stuff, The Offspring, they were one of my favorite bands back in the day.
Oh yeah, man, that was good.
Yeah. So it'll be a bit of punk, a bit of rock and roll, a bit of grunge. So yeah, all the songs that are going to get your blood pumping and get you not necessarily feeling angry, but feeling a little bit more
moving,
hyped up,
feeling something.
Yeah, the feeling hour. Although if I called it the feeling hour, that would sound a bit weirder. So maybe
That would be. Well, you'd get a different audience in there.
Ooh,
You might not want them.
Yeah, the touchy-feely hour, maybe not.
Yeah, we're not about our feelings. Well, let's. I'm going to take a pause here. Let's say hi, because man, we've had a lot of new people join here.
Yeah.
The aforementioned Jade Starr has joined us. Good to see you. Queen Savage is here.
I like Queen Savage.
Oh,
hey, it's that guy.
So,
The man of a
Unshackled
thousand
Spirit.
names. Sal Caruso, Unshackled Spirit.
Kidney Warrior, how are you? Good to have you on the program. You are fairly new. I think I've seen you once before, but thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Les Nagy, again, we're getting the good, strong Aussie contingent in. I always like that. We're strong. This show is very strong with Australia and Canada, just because of the timing.
It's Friday afternoon, Chris, and we have a thing here. Well, before we go on, sorry to interrupt. We have a thing here called Poets, which if you're in a workplace on a Friday afternoon, it's called Poets. And if I can be a little crass, Poet stands for piss off early, tomorrow's Saturday. So hopefully all the Australian workers are doing the Poets and grabbing a beverage and watching the happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good. And I'm a lot more entertaining, I think, after a few. I'm just going to say, back in the day, we used to say the more you drink, the less we stink. So let's go. Hi, Kristen. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Always great to have you on the program. And did I miss any? Oh, hey, this guy, old David, Live to Fly channel. Big fan of David's. Just, again, this guy is humble to a fault. And he's really talented, and I love his interpretations of songs. I'm a huge fan, so there you go. You can blush and go in for a run or whatever, but we all like you, David.
Isn't that always the way? I often say that, and I say on my show, Your Music Live, which I do each week, and I know you're there usually losing the Play My Fire beat, Chris. Just
almost always
a running joke. But it's so funny because the reason we have so just for a bit of context, if you haven't seen the show, I do a show called Your Music Live on Monday morning for me, Sunday afternoon or evening in most places, and I play your music. So it's an independent music show. If you're familiar with Metalhead Hippie and what he does, and Thomas Christ on You Rock, he does the same sort of thing. So we're playing people's music, and it's almost without fail that when people write these big flowery descriptions of their songs, you can submit your song and I listen to it, and if it's not a super offensive or of an adequate quality, it doesn't have to be fabulous, we accept home recordings because that's what it's all about, then we play it. The correlation between people that say how fabulous they are, oh, I'm going to be the next big thing, listen to my fire beat, it's so cool, and then I play it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's disappointing. And then people that are just like, oh, hi, Pete. Thanks so much for considering my song. I made this, and I thought, yeah, maybe if there's a possibility you can play it on your show, that's cool, but no problems if not. And then you play it, I'm like, this absolutely rocks. There's something about it in the community where the people that are humble and the people that are just really nice people, look, think your Gary Hubbs. Gary Hubbs, like one of the nicest people on the planet of Earth.
He's a total sweetheart.
He is. And then you listen to his music, and it's like, wow, this aggressive Canadian is just giving it to me. But he's never going to say, yeah, this is straight out of hell. This is the best song.
He's going to punch your head against the wall. He's like, hey, I hope you like this.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I made a thing for you. And then you're like, cool. And then you listen to it, you're like, whoa. So yeah, again, it's almost without fail that the more tickets people have on themselves, the less likely they are to actually be producing great music. And it comes right back to the Mike Shaner conversation we are having before about mixing and about feedback, which is that consider the source. I talked to Jade Starr about this a lot. when we're ranting on her show, but consider the source, because a lot of people that are out there in the forums, in the groups, providing the feedback, you go to their channel or you go to their music, they're not producing anything. Or if they are, it's not of a really super high standard a lot of the time. So they're putting a lot of their energy into bringing other people down, and they're not even making great music themselves. So you really got to consider the source when it comes to anything like this, because so many people just spend all their time being keyboard warriors in the forums, telling other people how crap they are, and then you go and you listen to their music, and in the nicest possible way, it's not the best.
It's just human nature, Pete. In my business, I'm a publisher. I think some people know that, and I publish specialty train magazines, model trains and real trains. And same thing, you get these keyboard warriors, you should do this, and I built them on blah, blah, blah. And like, what have you ever built? You know, show me your models, bro. Yeah. Whereas the people that write for me, my authors, same deal. These guys are excellent craftsmen, great photographers, and they're without a fail, completely humble, very modest. It's like, hey, you know I've written for you for 10 years now, but I've submitted an article. I hope you like it. Like, yeah, I've been using you for 10 years. Yeah, I'm going to like it.
It's so true. For whatever reason, I've been getting into both plane spotting and trains and travel and stuff recently, and the community around there is so nice. The mega nerds, the train nerds, are some of the nicest people that you're ever going to come across.
They are unbelievably nice. They're all autistic, but God bless them. They're
yeah. There is a guy here in Australia, and here's the difference. Like, there's some people that try to hype up, and they'll do travel videos that'll be clickbaity, and they'll be like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. There's a guy who runs a channel called From the Window Seat. He's out of Adelaide here, and he does train journeys around Australia and around the world. He went to Japan recently, did the high-speed trains there, and he is just the nicest guy. And I know, like, I see some of the comments he gets because he presents things in a very interesting way. It's like, on today's show, we're going to go from Adelaide to Sydney. We're going to see this. We're going to eat this. And I just absolutely adore it. I think it's the best thing ever, because it's just, you can tell he's just passionate. And I don't care what your passion is. If you're passionate about something, it comes through. If you're just trying to meet an audience or get into a niche, it's why you see these channels that are just following whatever the current trend is. They're into cryptocurrency, and then that falls apart. So AI is a new thing. So they're into AI now, and they're just following the trends. You can tell they don't actually care about this. They're not passionate about this stuff. So just hearing someone that is genuinely passionate, I think it can make up for a lot of things. It can make up for skill. It can make up for knowledge. It can make up for a lot of things.
Absolutely.
If someone has passion. So I love it.
Yeah. Yep. I just published two brothers in my latest magazine. One of them's 12. The other one's 10. And, those were pretty good models. They weren't the best thing I published in there, but I met these kids at a show, and their passion was great. And I wanted to mentor them a little bit, because people mentored me when I was a young guy like that. And, I think these guys are going to be around for a while for exactly that reason, Pete. They got some passion. And that's what I love about this community. There's no I'm just doing this in this community that I know of. Everybody's like, hey, I'm making a song. Hope you like it. I did what I did. Yeah. It was the best I could do at this time, and it's cool. And I want to segue that. You've talked about your music live. What Pete didn't say, he has done 250 episodes of Your Music Live. And folks, Your Music Live. That's why I wanted to have Pete on tonight is, we have people like Thomas Christ and Jade Starr and Pete and Metalhead Hippie. And they're the OGs. They've been doing this a long time. Pete's been doing it a real long time. And like everything, you can take it for granted. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. Metalhead Hippie will always be there. Pete John's always be there. Well, maybe not. So I just wanted to have Pete on and just discuss things, because we share a lot of common interests, but also to thank him as an OG for playing my music, playing your guys' music, and being such a positive teacher for everything. It's great, and we should acknowledge that. So you rock, Pete.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. It's taken me well, most of the 9 years of doing this channel and most of my life really to learn how to actually accept a compliment, which is hard. And I think if I could turn it around and make it about you and not about me, because that's what I do, I think it's important to be able to accept compliments for something that you have actually done and that you've put your effort into, because there's kind of nothing worse than when you say to someone, "Oh, your song really rocked," and they say, "Oh, no, it didn't. It was terrible. It really wasn't good. I really wish the bass didn't sound like this, and I really wish the vocals didn't do this." Maybe just consider saying, "Thank you. I really appreciate your kind words."
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, glad you liked it. I appreciate it. I put a lot of heart. I put my heart and soul into it. I put a lot of effort into it. So I'm really glad it came through, and I'm really glad you liked it. Again, it's a self-defense mechanism. I know many of us have suffered, and I say us because many of us have suffered with self-esteem, with anxiety, with overthinking. All of that stuff, with imposter syndrome, which I know we've mentioned that a few times. So imposter syndrome is that feeling that you don't belong, that you're around other people, they're all great, and you're just this imposter. You're not good enough.
At some point, they'll find out that I really have no skills. I suck, and they'll expose me.
Yeah, and I still get that on a daily basis. So I'll give you an example right now. Apple have just released a new feature for their AirPods Max, which is spatial editing. And they've sent me a pair to check out because you can edit it now instead of being stereo. It can be a 5.1 channel sound, which between you and I don't have a lot of interest in because I find it hard enough to get a good stereo mix. But they've sent this to me. Last time I did a video about spatial audio in Logic Pro on Mac, I put out this video saying, "Hey folks, I don't really use this. I'm not an expert, but here's how you set it up. Here's how you enable it. And here's what it can do." All right, thanks. See ya. I got a comment from someone from another Logic channel that absolutely roasted me, took me to task, said, you know nothing about this, you know nothing about spatial audio, you've never mixed a song in 5.1, why are you providing this information? People shouldn't watch your channel, you shouldn't be allowed to release videos. And again, before I reacted, I considered the source. So I went and checked out their channel. They make very in-depth and, to their credit, high-quality videos about spatial mixing in Logic Pro. Their video about this same topic was an hour and a half, and they went into every detail and every single thing. And my video was 8 minutes because I wanted to share, hey, it's a brand new feature. Here's how you turn it on, because I couldn't figure out how to even turn it on. And I think I presented it in a way where I didn't even say, hey, I'm an expert in this and I know what I'm doing, so you should follow me. So the initial thoughts was I should probably tell this person off for being so rude. And then I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to take the higher ground here. So they had this really long comment. We're talking paragraphs. You know when anyone has a comment on YouTube and there has to be paragraphs, you know you're in trouble because there's a lot of stuff coming your way. So we're talking 10 paragraphs of why I'm bad and why I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And my response was very, very simple and to the point. I said, "Hi there. Thanks so much for your feedback. I've had a look at your channel. It looks like you provide some great high detailed videos for people who need more information. Just so you know my intention here, it was to provide a quick and simple way for folks to learn how to turn this setting on. And if anyone wants to learn more about it, I think your channel is going to be the best place for them to go. Thanks again for your feedback, Pete." And let's just say that was my comment. The rest of the community didn't comment like that. So this person had maybe 7 or 8 replies to their comment to coming to my defense, which is lovely. I didn't ask for it, but hey, that's what they did. And their comment is no longer on that video because they came back and deleted it. And so I like that because I took the high ground. I didn't react and respond directly to that criticism. And whilst I could have run away with my tail between my legs going, yes, I am an imposter and yes, I should change what I do, I thought, wait, let's consider the source. This is someone who is spending a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy making these high detailed videos, and they see this as a bit of an attack. Maybe their self-esteem is low. Maybe they have imposter syndrome. And this is their way of addressing it for them by pushing it back onto me.
Yeah.
So I think if you can approach things like that with empathy for the other person, it's a lot better outcome for everyone.
Yeah, I read an excerpt. I'm a big Blink 182 fan. I don't know if it huge. My kids loved those guys growing up. Right, I took them to their shows, and Mark just put out a new book. where he, describes and my oldest son, we were talking about it, and he goes, "Hey, I've ordered it on Amazon. It'll be there tomorrow for you." So cool kid, right? That's my guitar player kid. But there was a passage in there where Mark talks about, the band had some issues. They struggled. They broke up a couple times. Tom left the band a couple times. And Mark said something I think very telling to your point. He said, "I didn't want to make it sound like Tom was an asshole. I wrote that here's what Tom was thinking, here's why he did what he did, and from his viewpoint." And I thought, well, there you go. That's wisdom. That's maturity. To realize that I wasn't agreeing with this bandmate, but here's where they were coming from, and I understand that now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is a really hard thing to do, because every natural fiber of your being and every natural instinct that you have is to react a certain way. And I'm reading a book at the moment, which is a big sort of phenomenal movement thing. I don't get involved in this sort of stuff in terms of, now I'm going to change exactly the way I live to this one book. But it's called Let Them, and a lot of people are getting into this whole let them mentality, which is similar sort of thing. Like if other adult consenting humans are doing a thing, most of the time the best response is to let them, rather than think that what they're doing is an affront to you and has anything to do with what you're doing. So, look, live and let live, live and let die, Beatles said, but all that sort of stuff. And it's amazing when you think about this sort of stuff, and they made a point there, which is it's really easy to defend silence. It's hard to defend once you've said something. So it basically says before you react, if you consider, because as soon as you've said something that's in this, you can't take that back. You can apologize for it. You can be remorseful for it. You can wish you hadn't done it. But the easier way is to not do it at all. And sometimes silence, like we talked about, having a silence in your speech is okay. And sometimes radio silence is exactly what you need, because the amount of times I've read a comment, I've got absolutely enraged at night, and I'm like, I'm going to respond to this. And I'm like, no, I'm going to sleep on it. And by the time I wake up the next day, I'm like, A, thank goodness I didn't respond to that. And B, half the time they've deleted it anyway, because they had probably the same thought. Whereas if I'd responded straight away to it and created this angry back and forth between us, and what was that going to achieve at the end of the day? How was that going to help?
Well, and it's a lifelong process. Absolutely. I mean, I'm an Irishman.
You won't always get it right. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's fight, but that's not the best, Be a little bit thoughtful and don't be reactionary.
Yeah. And look, is that saying just roll over and be a complete pushover and never stand up for yourself or your rights? Absolutely not.
Nope.
But there's a difference between creating conflict for the sake of creating conflict and being the bigger person and have someone come at you with conflict and just saying, the way that you did that was inappropriate, so goodbye. And the best way to do that, and again, the thing that frustrates people that are bullies, people that are aggressive, not responding to them is the best way. So I've got a song called Bully, and in that song I say, it's hard to win a fight when the other person's not playing the game. So like you can't actually win if someone else isn't even participating. So the old advice of, just ignore them, they'll go away. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you do, again, have to stand up and retaliate, but a lot less.
Or at least address it and say, that's not what you did is not cool. All right, Mike, I'll check out that email. No problem, bro. Happy to do it. Thank you. Well, that reminds me, here's sports. After I was done playing college football, I was playing in a flag football league here in Denver. So flag football, I got to tell you, I got more hurt. I played all those years of hockey and football. I think I had one concussion. Back then, you got your bell rung. We were stupid and we didn't understand what was going on. Yeah. But I had 3 concussions playing in this flag football league. And there was one particular one, standing up the bully. Man, this guy he was irritated with me, and he hauled off and punched me right in the face in the middle of the football field. Now, obviously, I should have gone after him, right? But the funny thing is I didn't. I just stood there and I went, wow, that's all the harder you can punch? And then walked back to the huddle, and his teammates just laughed at him and goes, "Hey, Girl Scout, go and." the best, and again, the best thing I could have done was basically nothing. Just like, yeah, that's what you got? Okay, well, see you next play.
Until he accepts the challenge and tries to get harder next time.
he was his teammates just were razzed him so badly. It was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, he probably didn't want to go again because then he'd be like, okay, now his teammates will come after him.
Now, did it hurt? Oh, God, yes. I got punched in the face. Yes, it hurt. But I didn't show that it hurt me. And it hurt him more that I didn't show that it hurt me.
Yeah, and that again, there's no perfect way to do everything for everyone because everything's situational. But that's definitely the way that I've treated things in the past because, again, most people who are bullies, and whether it's in the music feedback world or whether it's being punched on the football field, do it for a reaction. They're doing it so that you react so that they can retaliate so that they feel better about themselves. It's a low self-esteem thing. You can argue till the cows come home, but 99% of the time, a bully, someone who is trying to affect you or is trying to assert their power and dominance, is absolutely desperate and crying inside. They are really struggling with their own self-identity, and the way that they retaliate is by taking it out on other people in the hope that they get reactions so they can feel justified in their actions. So by not giving them a reaction, you are draining their power. If you react to them, it's like if you play video games, their power bar goes up by how much you react. And if you don't react, they just go down to nothing and they've got nowhere left to go and nothing left to do. And then, again, they'll feel bad because they'll get humiliated because people look at that and they're like, why are you even doing that? Like that's just a really stupid thing to do. Again, like the person, the other YouTube channel that commented on mine, they didn't get a reaction from me. They got a reaction from other people around me because they saw the way I reacted and went, yeah, Pete, you tell him. Like, yeah, don't come after Pete.
Didn't go the way they thought it'd go.
Yeah.
Just good advice because, we're all, when you put yourself out in a creative space, people are going to take a shot at you. Yeah. I've been in public life enough to know that just you show up at an event, somebody is just going to dislike your face and they might feel like they want to tell you about it. It is what it is. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here again. It's tangents the show. Hello, by the way, to Jeremy Deshaw, who's here, who hangs out in my communities. Hey, Jeremy, welcome. Good nice to have you.
Good to see you here. So there was a GarageBand Facebook group in the early days. So the GarageBand users group, many of you would know if you're a GarageBand user. Wonderful group. Myself, Ron Ward, Steve Mara, Jude Capana. These are all people that you know. Brian Bigler, Patrick Baird. We're the mods. We're the admins. It's kind of the OG GarageBand group. Not to say that there can't be other groups. There are other groups. The other groups are pretty cool. There was one other group though. That was almost the anti-Pete Johns group at one point because there was one particular person and they kind of recruited another couple of people that really didn't like me. They really didn't like what I was doing. They really didn't like the fact that I was on YouTube. They would tell me I shouldn't make videos, that I sounded bad, that I looked bad, that my content was bad. And look, they weren't wrong in the early days. Some of my content was bad, but they were positioning it in such a way that was like, yeah, you're terrible. So they were basically trying to make me stop sharing. And it was very funny at the time that I joined this group for a while and then I got removed from it because they didn't want me there. I didn't realize this. Again, it was that whole, someone hates you and you don't even know that they exist. So it's really hard to get involved. But someone else within the group, one of my other GarageBand friends, messaged me and said, did you know that in this group they're saying this about you? And they sent me a screenshot and I'm like, oh dear. And thankfully at the time I had a bit of an attitude of, let them, whatever. And and then they came into the groups the GarageBand groups and started trying to do the same sort of thing there. And to say that the reaction that they got was frosty would be an understatement.
Nice.
So they got very immediately told that, hey, that's not how we are around here. And look, that can go two ways. In a negative way, if you have a group that's negative, a group is kind of formed by the people that run it. So this show, you and Dom, you two have a way of doing things and you have a certain demeanor and certain personas, which is cool, chill, laid back and fun and just, it's all good. Everyone's welcome. Have a good time. If you were the opposite of that, you would attract a very different crowd, a very different community
Absolutely.
to what you actually have here. So I really do think that the leadership, we've been talking coaching, we've been talking leadership, the leadership that you have of a group, which is important. And people can say, hey, but it's everyone. And I agree with that. But there's got to be people that are there. That's like you go to a pub, it's great. You go in there, the barman's great, the people behind the staff, the people in the restaurant, they're all great. There's still got to be a doorman at the front that says, yeah, nah, you're not allowed in. You started trouble. You punched on last time you came in here. You're not allowed in this time. Yeah. So, yeah, for all the niceties and for all the good things, there gets to a point where you've got to choose the people that are around you. And that is really set up by the people that are not so much controlling or running the group, but are helping ensure that everyone is treated equally and given a fair go. And yeah, it was interesting because I know that's happened before and people are like, oh man, this group's so toxic. Get out of it.
Yeah.
If it's toxic, it's because there's people that are moderators and administrators, or same on YouTube channels. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, there's so much drama that happens on this channel. It's so toxic. That's because it's allowed.
Yeah, I've found that with most of the songwriting groups that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
I join them all, and then I'm gone within a week or two because I just kind of get the vibe and go, no one's listening to anybody else's stuff, for starters. And it's just, and the comments are, to your point, toxic. Who needs it? The Garage Band group, I gotta say, has been fantastic. When I started out, I had a bunch of questions and people were very kind and would give detailed answers. Mm-hmm. And I have, as much as I can, paid that forward. You know, if there's somebody has something and I know the answer to it, I will give them, you know, my experience and things because, yeah, that makes for a great group. And so that's one of those Facebook groups that has been fantastic the entire 4 years I've been on it, or 5 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's had its problems. It's had issues, and we've got a group chat that we still chat into this very day of moderators where when things come up, we discuss it and we give our opinions and we say, this happened, this person did this, and that was reported by this person. What do we do about this? And the good thing about that, and I know we're getting off on, again, tangents upon tangents here, but if you're ever moderating a group or you're moderating a chat or you're with a group of people, if someone says something or does something, tell them about it in a nice way. Like if you give people the information about what they did, the impact it had, without saying, it's kind of like giving feedback. If you've ever been in a work environment, you have to give feedback. Don't bring emotion into it. Don't say, or don't bring judgment into it. In fact, the opposite of that. But let them know what they did, the impact it had on the person, and how that impacts the community. So you can say, when you made this comment on this person's song, this was inappropriate because you could have said to them, hey, you need to bring the vocal level up. But instead, you said, you suck and you should never make music again. By doing that, you're making them feel terrible. So we would love it if you didn't do that anymore. Very simple. And it's almost like it's a really easy test, because if they come back with anything but, I'm really sorry, I totally didn't mean that, I won't do it again, I was having a bad day, it was a lapse in judgment, thanks for the feedback. If it's anything but that, then you don't need them around. If they say, oh, all I was trying to do was, they can't take a joke. They're just a delicate little flower. They're a snowflake. Yeah, this group's not for me. It's like, guess what? This group's not for you.
Right, you
That's
are.
That's the first correct statement you've made. So
yes.
See ya. Go find another group where that sort of thing's okay. So it's really good. It's a really easy way. So instead of umming and ahhing, we just say, all right, who's talking to them? And I'm like, I'll do this one. And I'll just send them a nice message just saying, in relation to your comment here, just letting you know that we've discussed as a moderation group and we don't like the fact that you did this. This person reported it because of this reason, or usually we don't even say that because we don't want that person to get blamed. We'll just say it was reported.
Hey, we
for
noticed
this reason.
Yeah.
We noticed this, so we just want to let you know that we don't accept that conduct in this group. And if you do it again, then we'll be snoozing you for 30 days or whatever. And again, if they come back with a positive, it means that they can accept feedback and that they knew that they were in the wrong. If
they can be
think
coached.
They can be coached, exactly. If they get all indignant and all defensive and try and justify it, then you know that they're not the right fit. So,
Well, in the corporate environment, in the coaching environment, some people are coachable, some people are not. And you spend your time with people that are coachable, and the ones that aren't, hey, good luck.
that's it.
See, here's Jeremy right here. I'm starving for constructive criticism as a noob content creator. Well, you're in the right place, because this is people here, they know their stuff, for starters, and they're going to do exactly what Pete said. Okay, you did this. That's cool. This part, maybe next time you try this. So you're in a good place to get that kind of feedback, especially on the musical. Video production, everything, I'm not your guy for that. There are other people that are way better at that. That's the joke, that Cancer song from last year, I finally did the video for it. Not Mr. Holland, but I love the finished product. I love editing videos. I hate setting up the camera and shooting there and dancing around and blah, 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 blah. I just...
Yep, I hear ya.
David L. has exactly the right approach. He turns on his phone, he sits down with his guitar and goes, here's a song. Boom, 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 and he's done.
Yeah.
I
got to admit, I'm in my old age, I'm getting lazier and lazier. Like, that's why everything is green screen now. I don't have to clean up. I literally, as you know, Chris, I sat down here 5 minutes before the show, had to reset all of my Chrome settings because they'd all been changed, and then pressed a button and said, all right, put this background behind me, and then go for it. And that's why most of my videos these days are screen sharing and a video with a green screen, because it is, it's a lot of effort to do it, and it doesn't give me joy. And again, I do the things, obviously this is my job, and there's things that I have to do, such as the live shows that I do, which I think are good and good quality shows, but I don't have a flair for the other stuff, and I could be coached in it, and I could do it if I really wanted to do it. And I love the sort of stuff that Jade Starr does, and I love the sort of creative video editing and work that other people in the community do. It's not for me right now. Maybe in the future it will be, but for right now, I like what I do, and I do what I do, and that's okay.
Yeah, I like doing the videos in that it reaches a bigger audience. That's the reason to do it. But yeah, I can't say that it's, fun, or I've looked at anything I've done and gone, well, that was so artistic. And Fellini's got nothing on me. They're just, it's a music video by a slightly overweight old guy playing guitar. So,
But people dig it, and you don't take yourself too seriously, and the fan is always gold. So.
Well, you know what? The last couple videos, see, this is the thing. You get a stereotype. I haven't used the fan in like the last 3 videos, but people don't realize. I guess I jump around enough, it still looks like the fan's going.
Yep, Gary will always be tied to the parking lot. You'll always be tied to the fan.
Absolutely, and I'm fine with it. I mean, that was, again, I have such a small space, and I started doing it in the summer here. And I mean, it's not good if you're a little bit heavy and there's sweat running down your face. So I started turning on the fan just so and the hair kind of moved around. It's like, oh, this is like 80s videos. Okay. And I just went with it.
Love it. Yep. No, it's fun. Again, it just shows that not taking yourself too seriously stuff, which I think is the most important thing.
Exactly. Fun stuff. Well, let's hear one more. Pete may need to have a little potty break.
Yeah,
or he may be ready to head out the door.
No, I can probably stay another 15. I can stay till 2 p.m. my time. So if you want to play a song, I'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back and close.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play another Pete Johns song, and I think everybody knows this one. And this is an acoustic demo, but I like this one very much because it's got that rawness and that intimacy. It's a great song, but this is Pete's 1% acoustic demo.
2, 3, 4.
When you open your eyes up to the sky above and you see the world, there is nothing that you can do but close your eyes again, 'cause you don't like what you're seeing, and you don't like what it means, and you don't want to believe it, 'cause you're part of the 1%. When you open your mind up to the evidence you don't believe, there is nothing that you can do but close your mind again. 'Cause you don't want to admit it, that you don't know what to do, and you don't have all the answers, 'cause you're part of the 1%. When you open your heart up to the people who need your help, there is nothing that you can do but turn and walk away. 'Cause you don't care, what can you do? And it's their fault anyway. And you just don't understand it, 'cause you're part of the 1%.
And there we go. A little Pete Johns' acoustic demo of 1%.
Yeah, so that was speaking of the Charity for Life album. That was my song. The final produced version was my Charity for Life song for Russ's album last year. So, yeah, that was my that could probably be in the Angry Hour this week, I think, because that's kind of my my middle finger to a certain subset of folks who maybe are not spending enough of their billions and trillions of dollars, supporting people they need to, and instead of blasting off into space in their rocket ships and whatnot. So, yeah, I know I'm talking. I can say that because I doubt that any of the 1% wealthiest people are watching this show in the nicest possible way, and they're not usually very nice people, so we probably don't want them in our audience.
But if you are, I don't have a sponsor. And I would love to have one. And you know what? I don't come cheap, but I can be bought. I'll just tell you that right now, folks. I have principles, but they are for sale for the right price.
And look, and I understand the irony and the hypocrisy because, as people will know, to do a full-time creator job, who am I paid by? I am paid by Google. Who own YouTube. I am paid by Amazon because any affiliate links I have is Amazon. So the same 1%ers that I sing about in that song are actually also helping keep the lights on and pay the bills. So I
totally
understand the delicate balance of living in a capitalist society, but being someone who also, thinks that people should be treated with respect and dignity as well. It's a tough
freedom
one.
of speech is great, but somebody can take umbrage with your freedom of speech sometimes.
That's right. I like to say, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequence, and I think some people get very confused between the two.
That's why I've never done the video for my famous song "Zuckerberg Can Suck My Balls." Just got a lot of airplay back in. But, and I wanted to do it like the old time when you have the ball that bounced along the words, but I realized how much that editing that would take to make that happen. It's like, you know what? Juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yep. No, absolutely. Very cool. It's been wonderful hanging out here. Like I said, I do have to run in 10 minutes time, but it's been an absolute blast. And It's
been fun to just, again, talk creator to creator. OG professional creator, likes to screw around creator. But that's what's great about this community. You have all these different levels and we're all contemporaries, even though we're not the same.
Yeah, and don't forget the definition of professional means someone somewhere has paid you at least $1 for doing something. So we can all be professional. If you've ever had a super chat in a show, if you've ever released your music and someone streamed it on Spotify, or if you've ever sold something on Bandcamp, guess what?
Well, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I've made enough money on Bandcamp that I've been able to buy not one, but 2 sets of bass strings. So, money.
It's all coming. Oh yeah, my streaming royalties last month were amazing. If I have another month like that, I can buy a set of strings too.
Right, now there you go.
Yeah, and look, it's I kind of wanted to retouch on this because we talked about success and how to be successful and that sort of thing before. I think one of the really important things that folks miss when they start doing anything creative or anything in life at all is that they forget to define what success looks like for them. Because if you jump into something and you think that, success means I need to get 1,000 views on this video, or I need to get 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, or I need to make $100,000 in streaming revenue. That's cool, but you got to define that up front, because you will feel like a failure if you haven't defined what success looks like for you.
Right.
And for a lot of folks, success may be, I finished a song. I got a song out there. I completed the process of songwriting, of recording, of mixing and mastering, and released one song. Or I did an album, or whatever it is. But I think a lot of the time, and I found this in the corporate world too, they weren't accepting of the fact that, hey, I'm where I want to be now. There was this constant, what's your next step? Yeah, but what's your career development plan, Pete? Where do you want to go next? And I'm like, here, actually, doing what I do right now. And it's the same in YouTube. People are like, oh, when you get like 100,000 subscribers, you could hire a video editor and then hire a social media manager and then outsource all of your work. And I'm like, that's what I got away from. I left the corporate world because I didn't want to have to manage people and answer to other people. I wanted to be an independent creator doing what I want to do. So I think to Mike's point, to others that have sort of asked questions and been chatting today, yeah, define what success means for you and then identify it and chase it, and then you'll be a success. But yeah, if you don't have a definition of success, you'll think you have to be what everyone else is, and that's instant dissatisfaction because you're different. You're not me. You're not Chris. You're not any of the other people here. You're you, and you need to know what you actually want to get out of your music.
Well, it's level. I mean, my goal was real simple. Record a song. I did that. And then it's like, okay, I recorded a song. It actually sounds pretty decent. Yay. I remember the first time I posted something, and it was in GarageBand Users Group. Mm-hmm. And my finger hovered over the send button for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then I went, what's the worst that can happen? And hit send. And the worst thing that could have happened is I could have hit send and people go, oh my God, you suck. And you're terrible, and go away, and we never want to hear from you again. But that didn't happen.
No.
A couple nice comments. Okay. So now where do we go from here? Well, I got to make a video. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. So then I made a video and got the fan blowing. Well, that's not true. Actually, the first video, I didn't have any background or anything. So I used the software that cuts out the background, which with hair like mine, you can imagine what that looked like. It looked like it was blowing because it was, but that was first video. And I did it. And then it was like, okay, can we get better from here? And it's just that leveling up. So success for me is just whatever I did last time, can I get a little bit better? And so in that respect, I've been wildly successful because I'm having a great time. God, it's fun. I've made friends literally all over the world. And everything I've done, I feel like is just a little bit better than the last thing I did.
Yeah.
That's winning, folks.
And that's a really good point too. Like a lot of people think, I said before, like I like things that you can measure, and that's kind of the corporate guy coming out on me because we said, what gets measured gets managed and all those sort of cliche things. But your goal doesn't even have to be a set finite goal. It can be have fun. That's it. It can be, am I enjoying this? Yes, no. If yes, success, win. If no, maybe I need to change something or do something different. And it can be as simple as that. Again, there's a lot of pressure in life and society to have goals, set goals and achieve goals and tick things off to-do lists. Or you know what? You can just wing it. I used to rage against people that just like to noodle. I said, noodling's such a waste of time. You should be writing a song and then you should be recording it and then you should be mixing and mastering. And then I spoke to one person one time who said, Pete, I don't want any of that. And I realized that I was trying to compartmentalize and say everyone must follow this one way of doing things and do it the same way I do. No, if you just if you've got like 5 guitars and every day or two you like to pick up one of them and noodle for an hour and have fun and enjoy yourself, that is perfect. More power to you. You do you. So, yeah, there doesn't have to actually be a right or wrong. It comes right back to what we talked about, competitiveness at the start. Doesn't have to be a right, wrong, a yes, no, or whatever. Just do what makes you happy. I mean, Jade Starr says that the best. Like, do what makes you happy. Mistakes make you better. You learn from them. Practice makes progress. Whatever little mantra helps you. But yeah, for goodness sake, enjoy it, because there's enough things in life that can be depressing and bring you down and give you anxiety.
Absolutely.
Music doesn't have to be one of them.
No, it should be fun. I played professionally for a while. I can tell you point blank, was not fun. I have stories. I had a 44 held to my temple. That was not fun. You know, so this is fun. And hey, I'm putting a link in because speaking of fun, Dom has joined the chat. It's always good to see my buddy Dom, and he'll be playing this Sunday. I just put the link in. So everybody check out Dom's, because Dom is back having fun. Dom has a brand new guitar that sounds amazing. And so check out him Sunday, because he'll play his new guitar for you and tell you all about it.
Awesome.
And there's nothing better than having a new guitar, right, Pete? I'm a fan.
I haven't had one in so long, Chris. I've been on a guitar diet, but I think I'm about to blow my guitar diet. So it was guitar or new MacBook, and I had a meeting with my entire business team, and we decided, which is me, that I needed the MacBook more than I needed the guitar. So
Yeah,
we
I
went
understand
practical.
that. Well, I need a new Mac, and I can't wait to get a new M4, but my healthcare provider decided that I should pay the almost $5,000 worth of scans that I had on my head to determine that, in fact, I had a brain and not a tumor. So I did that instead. So sometime in the next 6 months.
Yeah, that sucks.
It is what it is. Again, you know, I got the amount that my insurance company paid was ridiculous. So, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, I found out. So Queen asked earlier how I'm doing. Hey, I'm having a pretty good night. You know, yesterday I had a lot of fatigue. Today I'm feeling great. Talking to my buddy Pete, it's all good, folks.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So we will let Pete excuse himself. I want to thank you for being here, Pete. It was great chatting with you.
No,
and
look, I could. Yeah,
we'll have you come on again.
All day. Yeah. No, look, this is a good time for me, and I'm often the only thing I'm usually doing this time of day is walking around. So you and Dom and your guests and whoever you chat with here on this show are usually my accompaniment for my Friday afternoon strolls around the neighborhood. So
which is fantastic.
I'll in the future I'll jump on from some exotic locations as I walk around.
Well, now wouldn't that be fun? We could have a mini walk with me with Pete Johns. Like,
live from the beach in Adelaide.
That's right. Yeah. We've seen Melbourne. We need to see a little more of Adelaide, right?
Absolutely. No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I say, Chris, I could talk music and I could talk motivation, because I think it's such an important topic, and my goal really is to make sure that there is no one left behind, no one that could be making music but just isn't because of silly reasons like strangers on the internet, that they're not. So if you've got anything out of our chat here tonight, please let it be that strangers on the internet shouldn't define you and your music and what you do and don't do, and that there are supportive people and supportive communities out there that will help you.
Absolutely.
And you will get better as you do it. Even if you don't feel confident about your music right now, you will get better. Very few people. Think about sports. Let's bring it back to sports, because my hockey team, my poor New York Rangers, are not going to make the playoffs. They won a game. They scored 9 goals today. So they're just doing it way too late in the season. They're just coming out of the, what are you doing now? 9 goals today, and you're not going to get that last wild card spot. But you will get better if you practice, and you know this from other things you do in your life. If you're bad at cooking, guess what? You need to cook a whole bunch more delicious meals, and eventually they're going to taste even better. If you're bad at sports, you need to just keep practicing and do better at it. And if you think your music is bad, just keep practicing, just keep doing it, because repetition. Right. No one starts doing a thing and then a year later goes, I'm so much worse at that thing I've been practicing for a year. Just doesn't happen. So just keep
except for golf. It doesn't matter. You'll never get better at golf. You just won't.
No,
I don't know what it is with golf.
My slice is so bad. I need a golf course that is just all dog legs to the right. If there was a course that just faded right every fairway, I would be the world's
we need to
greatest
play
golfer.
on a NASCAR track and go make right turns. Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Oh man,
I should golf together. The beer drinking would be good. The golfing wouldn't be.
Yes, we'll be at the 19th hole for a lot more than we would be on the course. That's for
Indeed.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It's a pleasure. I'll definitely make it an effort to be back again in the future. And thank you to you and to Dom and to all the community and everything that you guys do. You're a very supportive and wonderful bunch. And I'll catch you next time.
Yes, tune in tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday. All right. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate you being here.
Cheers.
Have a
Chris.
good one,
Great to
mate.
see you. Thanks, folks. See ya.
Bye. There he goes. Pete Johns. Off to say good day. So it was great having him on. It was just fun chatting with him. I'll hang out for a few more minutes here and just chat with everybody. But yeah, it was great. We didn't end up talking as much hockey as I thought we would, but that's okay. You know what? We'll have Pete on again, and maybe we'll be deeper in the playoffs and we can talk about some things. But here we go. Yeah, boy, that's not good. Bee stings are not fun there. Anyway, well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Great to see the late joiners, Dom and everybody. And here's Pete saying bye-bye. Yeah, it was fun having him on. And yeah, that can happen. I've gotten stung on a bee or stung by a bee on a golf course. That wasn't fun. And then here's his next stream this Saturday, the Angry Hour. He's going to play some, grunge and some stuff like that. That's why it's angry. So check Pete out if you can. I will try and be there, but chances are I will be out in the garden. We're doing raised bed gardening. We've been gardening for 15 years now, and the soil is we're not getting very good yields. So, and plus my wife and I are getting older, and bending down is getting a little more challenging. So I'm building raised beds this weekend, and we're going to do some raised bed gardening. So I will probably be doing that all Saturday. And then I will take a quick nap, and then I'm going to do Flower Fest. So if you guys have just gotten out of the cave with Bin Laden, this Saturday, don't miss it. Flower Fest on Camp G-May's channel. Starts at, I believe, 4:20 Pacific time, because that's when he likes to start for Flower Fest. And a great bunch of, I think there's 15 artists that are going to be playing. Myself, the Dom Father, Michael Songs, headlining will be the Leelaverse. And many of your favorites will be there, so be sure and check that out. All right. It does sound fun. It will be. Let's see. Wait, you guys are banging on one another. There it is. There you go, voice. Got the taint thing in. Good call. Yeah, I didn't even. McKinnon's not playing, and we're resting a bunch of people. Calgary has the slimmest of hopes of making the playoffs. So, 4-1. Okay. Yeah. Avalanche are. It doesn't matter what they do. They can't move up. They're not going to move down. They're stuck at number 3. We're playing Dallas, so we're just going to rest a bunch of people and get ready for the playoffs. So does not surprise me that the score is not that good. And it was on ESPN Plus. I couldn't watch it anyway. So I'd rather hang out with you guys. As much as I love hockey, I'm here with you guys rather than watching hockey because, Oh, did it not matter for you guys either? I was watching NHL Network early, and they were acting like if Calgary won the game, then they might have a chance to to ease in, and depending if, I know they needed some help, but oh well. That time of year where it's just kind of slotted up and everybody just wants the playoffs to start, and we'll see what happens. So that's the hockey talk. Oh, no, so the Canucks are out, huh? Okay, well, hey, next year, right? Well, Pete's Rangers are out. They stunk this year. At least Calgary was in it right towards the end. The Rangers were basically eliminated a week and a half ago, I think. There you go. I mentioned earlier, he was having a good day and playing some guitar, and he has been unable to do it for such a long time, and it's coming back. And he sent me a track today that I'm just thrilled with. I'm very happy with what he did on it, and now I got to do the little tweaks and do the little, automation and all that kind of stuff that I could have learned about on Pete's channel, and I probably did, but learned about it some other places too. So, yeah, Kristen, hope you're doing well. Inspiring, yeah. Pete is an inspiring guy. That's why I was happy to have him on, because I'm a pretty positive guy. He's a really positive guy, and goodness gracious, we all need a little more positivity, don't we? The world is just kind of an ugly, not positive place sometimes. So, I view us as, even where none of us are professionals, or maybe only a couple of us are, but we're still entertainers. And so I always viewed it as my job is to just make people's day a little better by telling a joke, saying something funny in chat, doing this show, playing you some music. Just, make, and there's the, dadgummit, I was doing pretty good, I thought, but just brought one out. But doing what I can to entertain and make people's lives a little bit better. And we all have that gifting, and it's something I think we should do whenever we're able to. Yeah, Pete is an awesome dude. And here's the other thing that I really like about Pete, his longevity. Doing this, Dom and I have been doing this show now for basically 2 years. So most every Thursday. We've taken a few off here and there for various reasons. So just 2 years doing this show. Pete's been doing it for 7 years. Actually a little bit longer, but consistently the shows for over 7 years. That's impressive. Every week to do that many shows. Jade Starr is getting up in that same thing. Thomas Christ now is starting to get up there. Hippie had a really long streak until he decided to hang it up. So I really appreciate those people that have been doing it for as long as they have, and continue to put out quality every single week. It's impressive. This show every week, some weeks are okay, other weeks less so, but it is what it is. All right. I think I'm going to play one more Pete Johns song, and then I'm going to come back and chat with you for a minute. So let's get this one up. I got to find it. And this is one of his song timbre songs. And of course, he's the purveyor of song timbre. And he's done some bangers in song timbre. And you folks are going to like this one a lot. This is Pete's song timbre from 2022. Make me more bigger. There we go. Hey, everybody. That was Pete John's Choices. That was his 2023 song timbre submission. So good stuff there. Again, I like Pete's music a lot. I wanted to play that one because, you know, he talked about doing the grunge thing and angry. I mean, that was grungy. That was angry. That was, Pete has a very pleasant voice and everything. That had some edge to it. Edgy guitar and edgy vocals, and I was digging it. So yeah. Hey, got to start somewhere. You know, your channel starts with one video, and then you go from there, Jeremy. So that's all good. All right, Mike Shaner's still hanging out. Gordon Lee Weaver, I saw you in the chat earlier, and I apologize I didn't say hi, but I now. Good to see you, man. And buckle up, Buttercup. It's my personal theme song right now. I really dig that one. So, yep. Flower Fest is coming up this week, and then and I'm looking forward to it. I've practiced my set, and you know, he wants us to keep our sets to right around 20 minutes. You know, 19, 21, 22, something like that. I've timed my set now 3 times, and it is exactly 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes and 30 seconds, not 23 minutes, not 18:59, 20 minutes on the nose. I have no idea how that works out, but it does. So I'm going to be a good boy. Now, if for some reason we need to extend, I don't know if you're watching right now, G-May, but I got 2 extra songs at the bottom of my list. I could play something extra if you needed me to do it, and I think that's true for a number of the artists, but right now, 20 minutes, baby, right on the nose. And here's the link. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. Gary and Camellia have both been throwing the links tonight, and that is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys for doing that. But there it is. Friday, well, it's actually Saturday on GMA's for Flower Fest. So let's all rock. Hi, yeah, there's the dog paw. I didn't say hi to you either, but I saw you there. And hi, Doc, how you doing? Magic Jones and Guitar Hack. Now, Magic Jones, see, these are some OG guys. Magic Jones, I didn't really know. He had kind of moved out of the community as I was coming in. But, you know, of course, Guitar Hack is still around. But, yeah. Dog Paw, another OG in the community. So, Pete is a good hooker for sure. Yeah, that's one way to put it. You might have phrased it a little better, but you know, that's right. Buckle up, Buttercup. Yeah, he does write a catchy hook, and that's what I really find appealing about Pete's stuff is, you know, I'm one of those kind of people that I think having a good hook just grounds you into the song and gets you interested in it. A lot of great songs don't have a hook per se, but a lot of them do. And Pete, I think, has his fair share of good hooks. So, yeah, here's two old timers talking. Remember back in the day, and you had Phil Mosley? He's dead now. I don't know Phil. Hopefully he's not dead, but for the purpose of that joke, he was dead. So, hi, Many Vibes. How are you? Okay, I go now. What are you, Russian? Okay, I go now. You can stay. You don't have to go. You can do whatever. There you go. A Captain Hook. I got a little captain in you, James? No, James is a tequila drinker. That's right, because we'll have a drink on Lori's Friday show. And I noticed James drinks a little Patron. And that's, is it Patron or is it Cuervo? I can't remember. What, it's a tequila. I know that. Anyway. Yep. Kodachrome there is, again, Gary, old school photographer. There is an equivalent, and it is also hard to get, but it lives somewhere, and I can't think of the name of it. I haven't shot film in so many years, though. I was one of the early, because being in magazine production, as soon as I got my hand on the first 3 megapixel digital camera, and it was a Nikon, and it excelled at shooting macro. And that's all for models. That's what you need, is that macro. And I was all over. So the Nikon 990, and it was a weird camera. It rotated. It was bizarre, but it was fantastic for doing the magazine production we were doing. And once we had that 990 for, I don't know, 6 months, we never shot another roll of film. That was it. We were done. Because, we got instantaneous feedback. We knew if the shot was good, we needed to retake it. So, yep, I went digital a long time ago. Yeah, well, you and I are the Friday night club there, James. I'm the same way. I only have a drink or two on Friday nights, and that's it. So, yeah, when I saw my doctor, this week, and he was asking about that, and I said, yeah, I have 2 drinks on Friday night because I'm a party animal anymore. And he laughed. But that's what it is. Yeah, for magazine production, that kind of stuff, it's a no-brainer. Digital's the only way to go. Film is cool. You can do things with film. I'm still a big fan of people who use film, but for what I do, not for me, man. That sounds like a lyric somehow. Who's a big Paul Simon fan in the chat? My dad had Simon and Garfunkel records. I'm a big fan of those guys. I always loved them. Loved Paul Simon's solo work. I don't play that kind of music, but I always dug that guy. I think he was quite the wordsmith and had a lot of good music over the years. So. Yeah, the Nikon. Well, I've shot Nikons. I have a Nikon D70 now, but I've shot a lot of Nikons over the years. That 990. I had a 5700. I think was the model number there. Again, that was my first personal digital camera, and it was a decent camera. It didn't have as good a macro as I would have liked, but it was a pretty solid camera. I shot a lot with that, and then I had a D50, and then I went to a D70. There you go. He was on board. One of the greatest ever songwriters. I have to agree. Yeah, this is the thing. Paul Simon is highly underrated as a guitar player. But he's a damn good guitar player, but you just don't think of him that way. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Nikons are Nikons are good cameras. I'm a fan. Yeah, that's a great song. There's so many. They have a lot of great songs. The Boxer, so many good songs. All right, checking the chat. I know the song title. I'm trying to think of what that one is in my head, and it's not, the melody is not coming to me, but yeah, man, remember Guitar Player magazine? I read that religiously in the 80s. And they had Tommy Tedesco, he had a column in there. They had all these great columns with all these guys, and they were teaching you stuff, and I didn't learn much from it, but I did love reading about the gear and all the other stuff. Yeah, yeah, autocorrect will kill you, man. If I could figure out how to turn off the autocorrect on my iPhone, because it makes more mistakes than I do, and makes me look more dumber than I actually am. And I don't need any help with that at all. Not even a bit. Yeah, that one. Good song, man. Yep, indeed. Well, I think I will do this. We are close to the top of the hour. And what? Oh, you still have all your magazines? Yeah, I don't have any of mine anymore. But man, that was a quality publication back in the day. We're getting near the top, and I'm running out of steam, so I'm going to do this. I am going to bid everyone a fond farewell. I'll quick run down all the things that are going to happen tomorrow, because it's a lot. You guys should know by now, but in case you don't, in case you're new, in case you just came out of the cave where you were hiding out. Start off Friday with Valerie Bott and the Friday Afternoon Song Club. Charlie Gabaldon plays next. We've got Pole Vault and Sunshine Archer. Mr. Smith is streaming tomorrow, and I'm not sure if it's, I believe it's just him on drums. I don't believe, sometimes Valerie joins him on Friday nights, but I believe it's Mr. Smith solo tomorrow night. And then we have Laurie's Mishmash, and I usually stop in and say hi, at least on that, along with James and Hugh Caldwell and some of the other people. Doc has stopped in on occasion. And then we'll go to Gary Hubbs, the parking lot warrior, and he'll be out there lotting and parking and warrioring, all of that. And then we'll end up with the Leelaverse and doing the Chill Zone. So that's a huge Friday of entertainment, folks. You know, attend as much as you can because you will be entertained. And then Saturday, all night, Flower Fest from 4:30 Pacific time till, I think it goes to 1 something Pacific time. So 3 in the morning Eastern time, something like that. But lots of 15 acts. It's going to be good, boys and girls. So I will hope to see you all there. We're running down. Here's Pole Vault right here. Thanks for throwing the links, Camellia. You can click on these with your control and open them in a new window, so you got them there. There's a little computer trick for you if you don't know that. I suspect most of you do. There's Pole Vault, as again Mr. Smith, Charlie Gabaldon, Brenda Freedom Redbird has a show, Independent is running a show, and some of these kind of overlap. So you gotta kind of look around. So all good stuff. Oh, that's right. Pole Vault is not. Thank you for the reminder, Kamela. Yeah, he sent me a picture today. He caught a shark, and it was about this big. So I texted him back and said, hey, did you jump it? And he said, no, but I caught a couple more. So they're out ocean fishing and catching sharks and other critters. So that's right. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, there's no Pole Vault tomorrow. But we do have Lori. And then we have the Friday Hang. And then Gary will be posting his link any moment. Now, I know he will. There's Charlie's. See, I got you. These mods are great. Can I pull these links up this fast? No, I absolutely cannot. Yeah, that hockey dude in the parking lot. He's on tomorrow. Somebody throw Gary's link and then Leela's link, if you would, please. And as they're doing linking, I am going to pull up my last Pete Johns song for the evening. And this is his lyric video. And this is a song called Learn. And I want to thank everybody for being here. Appreciate you guys. And I will see you Friday. And I will see you at G-Maze on Saturday. And then I'll see you all next Thursday. So on behalf of Pete Johns and myself, here's Pete Johns' Learn.